Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to Good Morning Xbox. I'm your host, Axel1324,
And I'm coolcatterri.
And I'm Dreadpool.
and we are in the wrong spots. Here we go. There we go. That's better. Welcome, hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a great show for you guys lined up to do, full of positivity, possibly, maybe. No promises. But anyways, you know what? It is. I woke up in a good mood this morning. I'm happy. I am overall in a fantastic mood, even though I have to do lots of yard work today. I'm still happy. But before we get into the show, guys, Terry, what have you been playing this week?
Skull and Bones. Lots and lots of Skull and Bones. So I've been thoroughly enjoying myself with that.
Okay. Dread, what have you been playing? Oh, Alan Wake.
Yeah, Alan Wake too. Or no, the first one. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah, Alan Wake.
Alan Wake.
Yeah, all right. What is it? Game of the Year material?
I think you asked me that before, and I'm going to say it's getting closer and closer to being literally that. It's that good.
I see.
It's really good.
I'm missing out. The FOMO's going to hit in, but I have such a huge backlog. I refuse. Like, unless it's a game I'm really looking forward to, I'm refusing to buy interest games or passing interest games right now.
This is worth the time. This is worth the time. Find that time.
I make it a point to play every Game of the Year game that publications say, right? Because I don't want to miss out on what is considered some of the best games in this industry. So I have made it a point to try to play every Game of the Year ever made. And some of them I'm like, yeah, this game is fire. And some of them like, how the hell did this win? I played better games.
I've seen that before too, and I always question that. That's why when you asked me last time, I was like, I'm still getting into it, not sure. I holy cow, it's good. It's definitely a contender, if not the Game of the Year.
Okay,
so definitely worth it.
So my friends and I, we've been playing Pal World a lot. It's definitely in beta. It's definitely in game preview. Lots of crashes, stuttering, stuff like that. They definitely need to work on it.
Are you playing on Xbox?
Yeah, on Xbox. One of my friends doesn't have a PC. He's a console peasant. Even though he could clearly afford a PC, he refuses. And he is a console peasant, so we play on Xbox. And because all four of us are literally across the country, like one of them is in, where is he? He's in Washington. I'm in Texas. One of them's in Colorado, and the other one is in like Maryland or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, all of us are from all over the place, nowhere near each other. So that server is stressed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't have any issues, but I also haven't played with anybody. I just played Pal World.
No, when I play my game, my personal Pal World, it runs great. It runs fine, no issues. It's the online. You know, is it unplayable? No, it's just playing with lag. You know how it lags out sometimes. Yeah. So don't do any platforming in Pal World if you're lagged out. And of course, I've been playing my League of Legends. I was on a losing streak. I was on like a 7-game losing streak until I finally won one, and I got so mad. I'm gonna win this. I picked my best champ, and I went in there and I just dominated. I was like, like if someone appeared on it close to me, I would attack them and I would hit them so hard, like they just were deleted out of my sight. I ended up being the champ. Not only did we end up winning, but I ended up being the MVP of the match. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. Carried this trash team on my back. and it was literally it. Like when you look at the end game stats, you can see how much damage you did and stuff. I did 53% of all the damage on my team.
Nice.
There's 5 of us.
Nice. What were they doing? Sleeping?
Well, some of them don't do damage. Some of them are supposed to be support. Some of them are supposed to be tank. Those 2 are excused. The other 2 are not. They're supposed to help me do damage. And they weren't doing anything. And I just I ran them off, man. These guys didn't know what were they didn't know what was hitting them. But yeah, just deleting them and just pure skill. I was using seeing as this team was useless, I was using them as meat shields. I'm like, you're gonna die anyway. I might as well use you as a meat shield. But yeah, they I ended up winning a match against them 4v1, and I killed all 4 of them. And the 5th one, I couldn't chase him down before he made it to home. Kind of like playing cops and robbers. Once he makes it home, I can't go in there because it automatically kills me. So I was just like, "You're lucky. You're lucky. Just wait till you come out. Just wait. I'll be right here." It's fun. It's fun. My wife hates it, but I love that game. So yeah. All right. But guys, in the chat, let us know what you've been playing. We love to hear what you guys have to say. Let's see. Of course, we're joined by the awesome Dog 420. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. We appreciate you. Back from the Dead is here. Shout out to Back. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Your Wicked Hot is with us. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Splendiferous says, great morning, y'all. Great morning, yeah. I'll be lurking this AM family, painting my kitchen, but I'll be listening. Hey, you know what, Splendiferous? You are the real MVP. We appreciate you. And for all of you lurking in the background, we want you to know that we appreciate each and every one of you as well. You are all the real MVP.
Okay, so it's not me, right?
Yeah, he froze.
All right, let's see what else we got going on. We got
You're the real MVP.
There we go. Can you guys hear me now? Am I
yes,
back?
you can.
Okay. Shout out to
Yes,
Sith Lord. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Wow, I'll tell you what's not the real MVP, my internet. I'm hardwired in too. Yeah, I am. All right. Shout out to Jacob Novick. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Let's see.
Not everything is bigger and better in Texas.
What is?
I said not everything is bigger and better in Texas. Clearly,
I'll tell you what's bigger is the internet bill.
And the lag.
Yeah. Dan, the man Cunningham, joins us. He says, hey, all. How's everybody doing today? Shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Let's see. Doggy Dog says he's been playing Mortal Kombat 1 and the Crew Mortarfest. Terry will like that. Yes.
Season 3 is around the corner.
Crazy Greek Dude joins us. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. You're the real MVP. Jacob Novick says he has been playing Dead Island 2 for the first time on Game Pass and Indivisible on Game Pass. Mad fun. Started Dying Light 2. Took some achievements in Capcom's Arcade 1 and 2 and on PC Game Pass. Dang, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah,
look at the variety. I love it.
Yeah, that's good. Tell you what, though, I'm mad props on Dead Island 2, though.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm still that's gonna be my next one.
I'm going to tell you right now, between the two of them, as much as I love Dead Island 2, if you want a story like a story that will get you immersed, go to Alan Wake.
Oh,
and then that way you can just after you're done with the story, you can just go to Dead Island, which has a story, but it's a lot more mayhem, a lot more fun. Yeah, you can just kind of,
yeah,
get
there
away.
You go. Let's see. Sith Lord says he's been playing Final Fantasy Rebirth. I cannot wait to start that. I still got to finish the remake and integrate first, though. My wife, shout out to my wife. You are the real MVP of my life. She says, I never hit a game, but that game is suck. My League of Legends. Because I am so into it. Like, it's one of those games where I cannot be interrupted. Like, you ever see those rage videos where, like, guys get angry because they get interrupted because they end up dying? That's me with League of Legends. Sorry to my beautiful wife. I know she puts up with it, but yeah. Let's see. Jacob Novick says he sold his Series S to his brother for $50. That's a deal. Since I have an X now, home allows him to use my 484 owned games, 76 gold games, and Game Pass till 2026. His first Xbox ever. Hey, let me know what he thinks, Jacob. I'd like to know. Let's see. And of course, my beautiful wife says, hey, Dreadpool. And Back from the Dead wants to know, are we getting male voice or female voice today at Dreadpool?
Well, you're going to have to stay tuned to find out.
There you go. Dreadpool got a new voice mod. It was hilarious on Friday, Terry. Hilarious.
You know what the funny thing is? I've had that for almost 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I rarely use it. And I just, for the past couple of years, never had it installed on the new PC. So didn't think anything of it. And with the situation that happened Friday, I figured what better way than to mess with Splendy.
There you go.
Hey, Splendy Wendy.
I used to do voice mods.
That was my favorite part. All right, so let's get into it, right? So let's start off with our first topic of the day, Grounded. Let me pull it up here. There we go, Grounded. Grounded says, get ready to join over 20 million players. Grounded will be available on PlayStation consoles and the Nintendo Switch on April 16th, complete with cross-play functionality. Stay tuned as players across all platforms can experience update 1.4 on 4/16. So there you go, official date, Grounded coming to cross-play.
I'm liking the Goonies reference.
Yeah, that's right. But the big announcement is 20 million players. Now, Grounded, of course, coming over is not the big announcement. The big announcement is that let me pull it up. Is that a certain publication that we love here?
Love to hate.
That we love to hate. Yes, thank you, Terry. Terry is right. A publication that I love to hate, especially me. When they said when the Xbox tax was big, they opened their mouth and said something. So if you remember Dan Stapleton, famous Dan Stapleton, who talked a lot of trash about what game was it?
Starfield.
Starfield. There we go. Starfield, from Starfield fame. Him and Ryan McCaffrey had some thoughts about Grounded. They said, Dan Stapleton said, I wonder what the effect Bethesda and Obsidian becoming sister studios will have on Avowed. If I were Microsoft, I might consider shelving that game and putting Obsidian to work on co-developing The Elder Scrolls 6 to get that game out the door in time for it to matter for the Series X generation. Ryan McCaffrey, the quote-unquote Xbox guy over at IGN, says, kill Grounded, and whatever the Outer Worlds team is on, merge them into one team and co-develop The Elder Scrolls 6 with Obsidian. Todd Howard, executive produces, yeah. Have Obsidian get the ball rolling while Avowed team keeps going, and Baldur's, BGS finishes Starfield. Oh, Bethesda Game Studios finishes Starfield. So yeah, kill Grounded. And so we got this nice little tidbit from Arik Dorobia. Shout out to him. It says, hey, remember when that game journalist said we should kill Grounded? 20 million players later, and the polishing the nails emoji. Throwing some shade. Now, opinions are opinions. We all have them, right? We all have our way of thinking the way games should go, but we're just dudes with a microphone on the internet having an entertainment podcast. We're not journalists. These guys believe, and trust me when I say this, believe that they are beyond any criticism whatsoever. And they believe that what they say should happen because, hey, you know what? They're journalists. They know the game industry. But apparently, they don't know what it takes to get 20 million players. Terry, take it away. 20 million?
20 million is quite impressive.
Not killed, and they ended up getting 20 million.
That's impressive. That is very impressive, And it just goes to show that just because a game isn't for you doesn't mean the game is a flop or trash or anything like that. Most gamers like to say that because they don't like it, the game is trash. Mm-hmm. It goes to show lots of people love Grounded. So yeah, live on, you guys. And this is, and then was this one of the ones that was? No, this wasn't. Was this one of the ones that was going to get moved to multi-platforms?
Yep, it was.
All right. Great. That means they're just going to continue to grow. 20
million more. I wonder if these journalists with their journalistic integrity have issued an apology or retraction or anything like that. Just asking for a friend. So yeah, it goes to show you, IGN's not the greatest source of news. or opinion pieces because they're trash opinions. All right. Dreadpool, the opinions of IGN. Kill grounded. 20 million players later, still here. Still kicking.
Here's IGN's opinion of anything Xbox, especially grounded. They would just keep on moving the fest post. So I don't know. It's just, think about this though. 20 million players.
Yes.
IGN compares to them with 20 million haters because they can never get it right. They cannot give credit where credit is due. And they just, it is what it is. But we'll go back to grounded. We'll give grounded props because, again, this is what a team of 12.
It was a team of like 12 or 13, yeah.
Yeah. So and for what they did, I seriously love this Goonies reference. It's awesome.
Have you played Grounded at all?
Yeah. Not recently though. Not recently.
I played it way back in early access.
Yeah. Back
I
in
played
the
it after
game.
it released. It's damn good.
Yeah, I played it just after it came out of preview.
Yeah.
But
game preview. Yeah.
Tiny Giant and I played it for most of the preview, and then once it came out of preview, again, it's just so many games. I don't know how Xbox has no games, but 20 million players are playing one. Just saying. But again, it's just it's a good game, and from what I played with the story, it was good. Killing the wolf spider when I didn't have like all the shields and armor and everything. So it was fun. Ants suck though when they start swarming you. So, but yeah, it's just congrats to the teams.
Definitely congrats.
Congrats to them, and congrats to calling out the two morons on the net. So I mean,
getting
it's funny.
I love that this guy clapped back at him.
Yeah, and the thing is, I used to like Ryan McCaffrey when he was on the Xbox magazine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
he was the Xbox guy.
Yeah, so he was the Xbox, and he's still considered the Xbox guy. I don't know how.
I don't know how either.
But I mean, Dan Stapleton again. I don't know what he's doing, but I think they know what they're doing. They're doing what they want to do, which is literally this. Clickbait.
These guys,
it's bait and switch.
These guys, these journalists. My biggest problem with them is that they believe that they are beyond making an error, that their opinion is the end all be all because they base their opinion on market research and there's a blah, 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 all these other things. So I'm right, you're wrong. And they don't want to get into a conversation with you. Trust me. If somebody tagged, let's just pretend here. If somebody tagged Dan Stapleton or Ryan McCaffrey on this, Dan Stapleton and Ryan McCaffrey will block them instantly. They're not interested in being held accountable at all. Which is the only way I can hold them accountable is to, I have my own little podcast here, with 21 people watching. So these 21 people get to hear my opinion of it. And I also don't get any news from IGN because I just don't think they're reliable when they have trash opinions like this. If these are the people that are reporting on Xbox, and a Starfield Xbox hater like Dan Stapleton, a guy who celebrates exclusivity when PlayStation gets it, but trashes Xbox when we get it. I mean, hard pass. I'm not getting my news from you. So shout out to this guy for pointing this out and putting salt on the wound, if you will. Love it. I'm here for the pettiness. Is it petty? Absolutely, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and no one should be beyond reproach as long as you're being respectful about it.
Yeah. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Silent Cypher. Thank you so much for joining us. You're the real MVP. Guys in the chat, let us know what you think about grounding heading 20 million players and basically Ryan McCaffrey and Dan Stapleton eating crow. Let us know. Let's see. We got Fastback. Thank you so much for joining us. Fastback, you are the real MVP. Fossil 924 joins us. He says a very Ryan take on anything Xbox. Yeah, hard facts, Fossil. That's why you are the real MVP this morning. Appreciate it. Let's see. Silent Cypher says, Axel, they'd have to find their journalistic integrity to use it. Oh, pretty sure McCaffrey sold his to the devil a couple of decades ago. Damn. hard truths. Fastback says, Grounded Sea of Thieves will get nominated for an award once on PlayStation. Nintendo love playing them both. You know what? A lot of people have been putting up Metacritics for like Sea of Thieves. It got like what, a 60 back in the day, and when it releases on PlayStation, they're like 89, 90. You know, they're just posting that Xbox tax that we all know is coming. We all know is coming.
It's also unfair though too, because when you look at the Xbox reviews, it would have been back before they had all the content they have now.
I want you to know the content was create your own fun, and I have amazing memories playing Sea of Thieves on launch. Trust me, there was things to do. It just wasn't like, go do this quest, go do that quest. It was like, get out there and adventure. And if you did that, you found fun. Trust me. Me and my cousin, we sailed the seas for 3.5 years on Sea of Thieves.
I mean, it's still more fun than Skull and Bones.
No, it's not. I've been able to play Skull and Bones nonstop. Sea of Thieves always put me to sleep from boredom.
From boredom.
No, that's the beauty of it, is we have different games.
This is why I love my panel. We all have different taste. All right, let's see. Dreadpool, is this true? I heard that Dead Island 2 was supposed to release in 2016 and was in development hell for 3 to 4 full reboots of the game. Also couldn't get into Dying Light 2 after playing Dead Island 1. Dead Island 2 is peak.
Yes, it is true. Multiple studios, multiple devs, multiple delays, multiple restarts. It was in development hell. And the funny part is, if you think about it, this is one of the very, very few games that came out with the minimal glitches. I mean, there was one glitch where our bowl just kept on rolling, just kept on spinning. So if that was a glitch, that nothing was game breaking when it came to that. You know, that was the only thing we're like, oh my god, look, it's a glitch, it's a glitch. We finally found the glitch after hours of playing, and nothing was game breaking. So you look at how solid this game came out during it for its launch. How many games have done that before? Only like 2 or 3 recently. Baldur's Gate 3, and even then, after what was it? You get into the 3rd chapter that it started glitching out, that they had to fix it. So this Dead Island 2 was pristine coming out the gate, even with all of that headache. So it just took it long enough to do it, and they knew that they had to put it out right, because if they didn't, it'd be DOA.
Yes, absolutely DOA. But I think I've never, when games are coming out with bugs, Dead Island 2, came out polished and looking great, playing great, and I just feel like people overlooked this game because of the reputation of the first one. And I feel that people are missing out, including myself. So yeah,
reputation of the first one. The first one was good too, though. The first one
not for bugs.
Yeah, we didn't have any bugs.
It's not what I heard.
First one was good. Riptide, which was the expansion, standalone expansion, was good. The only issue we had was they allowed you to continue on at your level, but they took away all your weapons. And if you didn't continue on, you started fresh, because you could start fresh with Dead Island Riptide. If you started fresh, you didn't have any weapons anyway, so it didn't matter. But when you continued, that was like, what I had all these good weapons, and you took them away from me. That was the only issue. Dead Island, which one was it? No Escape. That one there is a cell shaded piece of. You don't want to touch it. I only paid $2 for it, even though I told everybody to steer clear, because I wanted to see how bad it was. I mean, that's the one that everybody said do not touch. That's the one to stay away from.
Right.
It was horrible.
Well, there you go, Jacob Novik. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, let's move along here. Fastback says Ryan is a cloud, lost respect for him, and ignorant TMZ clickbait media. Ignorant?
Ignorant.
IGN orant? Ignorant? I know you're trying to say ignorant, but I was trying to put IGN and ignorant together in one.
And it's
I should saying it.
he's not a cloud.
He's not a clown.
He's a clown.
Cloud. It says cloud here.
Yeah.
I'm like the anchor man. You know, if it's on the teleprompter, I'm going to read it. Shout out to Jason Max. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. We appreciate you. Let's see. Fastback says, played a little bit of Grounded, love base building, exploring underwater. Yeah, absolutely. Grounded is amazing. I played it with my niece and nephew. Had a fantastic time. Let's see. Ryan McCaffrey, the Xbox guy that couldn't and didn't want an Xbox One X because he was buying a Tesla and couldn't afford it. But he's excited and ready to buy a PS5 Pro. Exactly my point.
Yeah.
Exactly my point. Dan the Man Cunningham says, if I had friends, I'd play Grounded. Anybody want to be Dan's friend? He's ready. He's ready to go to the backyard. Shout out to Brando Calrizia. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MP. He says, oh man, Ryan loves Tesla so much you would think he wanted to be Elon's boyfriend. Damn. Wow. Let's see. Fastback says, I like both Sea of Thieves and Skull and Bones for what they are. No need to compare. Oh yeah, they're pirate games. Which one are you more pirating?
I mean, there's different styles of pirate games, though. You know what I mean?
Whoa. This is a family show.
20 million players is amazing, and the PlayStation release will just skyrocket. Let them PlayStation gamers fund more games and acquisitions, etc. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Fastback. Ryan is to Elon like Keely is to Kojima. Wow. Awesome. I love it. And actually, Xbox after buying Bethesda and ABK, X bought Ethicbic.
This is Axel this time.
All right, there you go, guys. So we just decided to start a little fun topic, you know, to say that. Let's see. Moving this show along. Anybody else got anything to say about Grounded hitting 20 million players and the quick clapback?
No, again, just congratulations, and forget these guys. Don't even listen to these guys. They don't know what they're talking about other than clickbait.
That's right.
It's a bait and switch more so than a clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
Don't read their stuff.
Don't read it. All right, moving on to our next topic then. All right. And shout out to, where did I get this from? I already lost it. Anyways, shout out to whoever created this image. I took it off the internet. Sorry. So, guys, a lot of people are speculating that there will be a video game crash on us shortly. Now, I want to point out here the video game crash of 1983, which is the last time there was a video game crash, right? In 1983, the video game market crashed when 97% of the industry when the industry lost 97% of its revenue. So that is a crash, all in the span of about 2 years. So imagine hitting your peak and then 97% of that, 3% of it is what's left 2 years later. That's how much it was. That's how devastating it was in 1983.
Was it E.T.'s fault?
E.T. A lot of people say E.T. is the reason why it crashed, but it was a lot of factors, not just E.T.
Yeah,
E.T. was just kind of the camel that broke,
or
the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will.
E.T. was just the easiest point. Because,
Yeah.
Finger.
Well, a lot of people point towards E.T. because there were more copies of E.T. made than there were consoles.
Wow.
So a lot of people blame E.T. But let's go over what we've been saying. We've been saying layoff after layoff after layoff, right? We have PlayStation has closed 4 studios in 4 years. If you don't know, they have closed Manchester studio. They have closed Japan studio. They have closed Pixel Opus. And recently, just literally recently, they've closed London studio. We have had several CEOs come up into it and say that the gaming industry is not sustainable. They're not making enough money. Gamers aren't buying enough games, right? To justify the expense to make the games, right? So, people, I especially was against raising the prices from $60 because video games already are incomplete when you buy them. They have battle passes and loot boxes built into them. I have to buy the service to play them, all this stuff, right? So there's a lot of side expenses. It's like maintenance expense to buying a video game, if you will, right? Like you buy a video, it's like buying a car, and sooner or later you got to change the tires. It's like you buy this game, but if you want the DLC, you got to pay again, or if you want the season pass, you got to pay again. And I get it. People make the content for that. They should be paid, all that good stuff, right? But video games, it's not like video games have a flat cost, and so they raised the price to $70 industry wide now. Everybody's at 70, as far as I know. And they're talking again about raising the price, and some people have said raising the price up to $100 because the video games are just not sustainable. So us as console gamers, right? This is a console gaming podcast. We pay $500 for our consoles, pay 1/5 of that, 20% of that for a game. Now, remember, back in the day, you bought I remember buying my Dreamcast for $200, right? And I bought the Dreamcast for $200, and games were $50. So games were a quarter of the price of the console. So this is not unheard of, right?
They were $20 to $50.
Yeah,
so
but trust me, the
it
one
wasn't
I wanted
all
was $50.
across the board.
Okay, I bought Sonic Adventure. It was $50.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is they weren't all $50 across the board. They were priced accordingly to each game. So certain games were $40, certain games were $30.
Yes. Rockstar has hinted that GTA 6 should be over $100 because of what you get. And some people are saying, I'd gladly pay over $100 for GTA 6. So, moving on, right? Metacritic. A lot of people point toward Metacritic being a cause for the recent reason why video games will crash. If a game scores... Back in the day, Dread and Terry, if a game scored a 7 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, we still considered it a good game.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Mm-hmm. Am I wrong?
6 out of 10 was a good game. Good. 7 out of 10 was really where you wanted to be. You didn't want to be below 7.
Right.
6 was still playable, still good. It was more for those niche type of games that you were into that nobody else was. Mm-hmm. But that's why 6 was still good.
Yeah. But nowadays, because of Metacritic, a game scoring below, I don't know, I'm gonna 83. Let's just pretend 83 is the threshold. People will trash the game. An 8 out of 10 is pretty good. 83 out of 100 is pretty good. And people will trash the game, and that game sales will plummet possibly because it's an 83. There's a bad stigma with 83. So the video game market has changed. All right, so let's go with that. I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to go over some of this stuff, okay? I don't want to say everything. But, Terry, is the video game market crashing? Studios are closing. Everybody's getting laid off because, got to cut cost. Game prices are possibly going up again. And gamers are elitist. We're elitist. I know those are 4 different topics, but I kind of want to open the conversation as to why people are saying the industry market is going to crash. And I picked those 4 topics. There's others, but those are the 4 I want to focus on.
Okay. All right. So
do you want me to put them up there?
You're kind of hitting me with a lot.
Okay. Hold on. Let me put it up there. Hold on. All right. So what did I say? Studios closing, right?
Uh-huh.
Studios closing, layoffs, game prices, and
can't remember yourself.
Scores. I'm going to call it review scores. Review score stigma. That's what I'm going to call it. All right. So there we go. There you go. Those are the 4 points I made. Take it away, Terry.
Okay. So with the way things are going now, I definitely think it's possible that a crash could potentially happen. There's a lot of factors in that. If we want to just look at game prices first, I mean, PlayStation themselves have come forward and they even said it was unsustainable because the amount of money they're investing in their first party, games like God of War and Spider-Man, between production costs and the crazy amount that they spend on marketing, you know, and then how the games are selling, they're not making enough money to keep that going.
Mhm.
So that makes sense why Sony was one of the first ones to do the price hikes, you know, because they're spending a crazy amount of money for their games. And they need to find ways to keep making the kind of content that they're known for, but being able to be sustainable. So price increases. That's the only thing they can really do outside of it. Otherwise, they would have to limit the quality of their games and, you know, downsize the projects so that way they could, you know, have a more manageable budget. And I will always say gamers are entitled, because they are. Gamers are entitled.
Mhm.
Once
We really
gamers have something they like, you know, they always want more. You know, and everything has to be better than it was before. You can't go backwards. So PlayStation fans are used to getting a certain quality of game
Mhm.
and a certain scope, like size for those games,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
So there's
PlayStation set
no
the bar. Now
way,
they got to live and die by it.
there's no way you'd be able to be like, hey, I know you guys are used to, let's say, like Spider-Man. You guys are used to Spider-Man having A, B, and C, but we can't sustain that. So we're going to get rid of C, and we're just going to give you A and B. There would be a riot. They'd be like, no, you're not giving us a full product, you know, because in their eyes, this is what makes a full product, and now you're shortchanging us. So that won't fly. So that's not an option. So the only thing they can do is price gouge, because they're in a losing situation.
Mm-hmm. So do you think like price gouging is like them trying to stay alive? Like they are trying not to shut down.
This is them being desperate and trying to stay afloat because they have no choice. Either they have to price gouge or they have to, you know, tighten up the budget, which is going to change the turnout of these games. And, you know, and gamers are just going to review bomb it. You know what I mean? Because they're going to get all in their feels.
Yes.
So they're in a losing situation, and it's just going to spiral out of control very easily if they can't, you know, gain control of the situation and make everything work.
Right.
And that's why so many other companies are also doing price hikes, because they spend a lot of money on making these games. Now, some of them get lucky, you know, like Epic did with Fortnite. You know,
that was super lucky.
They got, you know, that was a game that they didn't really have a lot of hype for to begin with. Nobody really got into the actual game itself. So then they ended up creating the free-to-play version off of their base game that nobody played, and then that actually gained them a lot of success. They got lucky because they literally released a game that was quite literally a failure. Nobody played the game.
Yeah,
Okay?
Fortnite Save the World did not sell at all.
Yeah. So they got lucky that they were able to come up with a solution and make out as well as they did, because that game was a flop. You know, I don't like calling games flops because many of them that are called flops aren't flops, but that was a flop.
It was a sales flop. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So they have to, you know, find ways to make things work. So, and right now, and we have gamers right now already complaining about the price hikes, but you have to decide what's more important to you, the quality of the game or the price, because you can't always have both. So if you're okay with them changing how they make their games and maybe making them on a smaller scale so that way they're more in budget, you have to accept that that's the product you're going to be buying so you can have a cheaper price. If you keep wanting them to keep making things bigger and bigger and bigger and better and things like that, they're going to keep getting more expensive. Especially look at how gamers keep going on about how demanding they are with certain specs that their games have to have. You have to have ray tracing. You have to have, you know, over 60 frames. You gotta give me the 4Ks, and you gotta give me everything. It's like it's you can't have everything without the cost constantly going up, because it becomes increasingly harder for them to make all those things work together. But you know, gamers want it all. You can't have it all. You can't have it all. So
right,
that's
it's like that pie chart you ever see, like pick two, or these are the three things, but you can only pick two.
Exactly. You know,
right.
exactly.
So it would be like hours of engagement, price, and quality, as you put it.
Yes,
right?
you can never have all three. But gamers, they have this entitled mindset
Very
that they
rarely
can
will
have it
a
all.
game have all three.
Yeah, and you can't. And then when they don't get one of the three, They go on
Trash.
tirades and they review bomb stuff. They, send death threats to the developers. They
Oh my
do all
gosh,
that.
that makes me so mad when they do.
They're petulant adult-sized children. All right. So it's horrible, so that it puts developers in a bad spot. So you have those problems. So that alone is going to probably be that alone by itself. If you took all the other stuff out, that could easily, crash the industry by itself. Layoffs are one of those things where I feel like those kind of come and go with everything. They get a lot of people for a major project, and then maybe they might not have a project that's that major, so they can kind of downsize some. So that's kind of comes with the industry. So I don't really see the layoff as that big of a thing. I mean, it hurts the workers for sure, but when you look at it, they might go from having a major project to they might become a support studio after that. You know what I mean? So they're not going to need that kind of workforce.
By the way, guys, I'm sorry in the poll. I forgot to put one option up there. I apologize. Yeah, sorry. It's a live show. Sorry. I came up with that poll on the fly. Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything you say. So you think that it is going to crash?
I think it definitely can, and unless they're able to come up with
on a crash.
It's teetering because right now studios want to please their fans and their consumer base, but the consumer base is so entitled that they're making it impossible for them to be pleased. So something's gonna have to give. Either the consumer needs to be more open-minded to what is feasible, or the developer is going to be like, well, this isn't feasible, we're going to have to do this. You know what I mean? One of them is going to have to cave, and the other one's going to be unhappy. It's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Studios closing, I don't know. Studios have always been closing. You know what I mean? They come and they go. So I don't know.
Not at this rate. I feel like most studios.
I feel like they probably have been at this rate. It's just, with social media now, it's talked about more than when it would have been back in the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's always been there. It's just, it's easier for people to just go off on a topic and make something out of something today. It's very common for a lot of devs to go and work for a major studio. They put in their 10 years or whatever, and then they decide they want something else, and then they branch out and they always make their own studio. And a lot of times those studios fail, because they might have been the talent behind. Let's say we'll use BioWare for example. A lot of devs from classic BioWare have branched off and made their own individual studios. Nobody knows anything about those studios, and most of those studios probably don't even exist anymore because they don't have the reputation that BioWare has. They were the talent that gave BioWare that reputation, but that's not enough because people are going to go for the name of the company.
Right.
We love BioWare. They're not going to necessarily, the average gamer, unless you're like a hardcore, the average gamer doesn't know a single person that works for that company. When they say this person made the music or this person was the game director, the average gamer doesn't know any of that information.
I know Dan Middleton.
You know what I mean? So, the average gamer doesn't know that. They just know, oh, this company made this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's it. So names don't, so that's gonna, kind of bites those guys in the rear end when they go off on their own, because usually no one knows who the heck they are.
Right.
Unless you're someone who intentionally wants to follow the industry.
Like us. Yeah.
Like us. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then, so I feel like the studio closes have always been there. Social media has just made it more of a focal point. So that way it's a talking point now, because a lot of times if they don't have anything to talk about, they can just talk about that because you know what I mean? There's those slow news days. But I feel like that's
I know.
Yeah. Studio closings and layoffs are nothing new, and they will always be there.
Right.
This is a tough industry to get into.
It's a tough industry to drive in too.
Yeah. So it's just part of the beast, So I see those as nothings.
Yeah. By the way, guys, sorry, Terry, do you have something else?
No, go ahead.
Sorry. I want to give credit where credit is due. Again, this is not my image. This comes from franksworld.com. He is a data scientist. He runs this website. This is part of his YouTube video. He posted this 2 years ago, by the way. So he was he's following the data, and he followed it 2 years ago. So again, I want to give credit where credit is due. This is not my image. This is franksworld.com's image, and I found it on an image search, and I'm using it. So thank you so much to franksworld.com. I didn't ask for permission, but I'm sure he won't mind. He seems like a nice guy. All right, let's see. Let's move it along. Not move it along, but let me catch up the chat, as the chat is fire right now. Let's see. DE, shout out to DE. Thanks so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. He says, was it just American games industry then? I thought I read something like gaming in Japan was still fine. I think gaming in Japan is changed over to mostly mobile. Their industry is very different than the American industry. But of course, this is an American show. We are talking about mostly the American industry. We try to say about it worldwide, but trust me, America is the largest market in games. If it crashes in the US, it crashes everywhere. Shout out to Scott Free. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. He says Pac-Man in 2600 sucked big time too. Yeah, it did. Yeah, I am able to do that. Who put him there? Let's see. I have no idea what happened here.
New accident.
Oh, Noof accidentally did it. All right.
I fingered it.
Don't do that, Noof.
Yeah, sometimes what happens is you try to click on something.
Yeah.
It when the chat goes so fast that sometimes it
especially
moves.
If you're on mobile. If you're on mobile,
Yeah.
I finger it.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Brando.
So yeah, Brando,
feel free to speak. You're not muted. Apologize for that. Let's see. Let's get back to the show. Fastback says Atari crash paved way for Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation. Looks to be struggling, and yes, Xbox has in the past, but Microsoft has money, and recent acquisitions will help. Yeah, the industry had to change, and we'll talk about that next. Let's see. Jacob Novik says, I definitely think another crash will happen, and I actually think PlayStation may go out of business then like Atari did, where the first crash wasn't the only reason Atari was forced out of business. Nobody has more to lose than the market leader in a crash. That's just the way it is. So it could very well put PlayStation out of business. Of course, we don't want them to go out of business. We just want them to stop being deceptive practices. Let's see. Fastback says games are going $100 will increase subscription service numbers. Yeah, I'll tell you what. If games go $100, I am exclusively gaming on subscriptions. I got other bills. Gaming is a hobby. This is not it's not a utility. I hate to say it. I gotta eat. And I do it for fun, and it's a great hobby of mine. But yeah, I'm definitely going subscription. I'm going the cheapest route possible. Let's see. Jacob Novik says Xbox and Microsoft know how to make money, and Nintendo how to sell consoles and games. And PlayStation does too. They have that brand power. Don't ever deny the brand power of PlayStation. If you're denying the brand power of PlayStation, you are in denial, like full on denial. Let's see. But what is PlayStation's specialty? Deceptive practices. Money hiding third party games. I mean,
you can thank me for that phrase.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as Dreadpool calls it, deceptive practices. Trademark Dreadpool. Trademark. Let's see. Scott Free says Nintendo said a long time ago that they charge $100 for games. In fact, Zelda and the NES cost $79.99 back in the 80s. Damn, no wonder I didn't buy it back then. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nintendo is Nintendo, and their games will sell, and Switch has been successful. Yeah, but Nintendo has also had duds. I mean, the GameCube dud, then came the Wii, the Wii U dud. I mean, Nintendo is not is not bulletproof. They're just very good at adjusting to the market. Let's see. Customers will speak with their wallets, and publishers and devs don't if publishers and devs don't course correct. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with that. Money is the end all be all for all these, and they're just there to make money. Let's see. If you double my salary, I'll buy more games. Yeah, well, that's also what these devs are saying. I'm worth more money, gave me more money. Well, now the game became more expensive to make, so now they have to charge more. It goes that way everywhere, and yeah, I think that right now the balance of money in the world is, I think we're heading towards a crash in general.
Yep.
we're creating a generation born in poverty and staying in poverty, and it's not good. Let's see. Ever heard the song "Nothing Ever Lasts Forever" from Assassin's Creed Unity trailer? Well, it's true. Everything we know can easily disappear with a crash. Absolutely. Hitting it right on the head there, Jacob Novik. And shout out to the Gina. Thank you so much for joining us, the Gina. You are the real MVP. If you guys are awake when their podcast is on, they have the Xbox Live Party podcast and PlayStation Party podcast. Be sure to listen to them. Let's see. I'm a bit tired of open world collectible blowed to pad out games that Ubisoft and Sony games particularly struggle with. Alan Wake 2 and Plague's Tale 2, quality experiences, low budgets, no bloat. Everything has its place. Everything has its place.
But look at the price.
I don't think I would enjoy Red Dead Redemption 2 as much as I did if it wasn't open world full of stuff to do.
Right, but look at the price point for Alan Wake 2 and being Game of the Year. So, you're muted.
Axel, you're muted.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just said all that. Sorry.
Ignoring me the whole time.
Yeah, you did.
Barely says it, and it's like, okay, no, sorry.
I said absolutely. Let's go back. I said, yeah, absolutely. There's definitely room for tailored experiences, linear experiences, more linear story-driven experiences out there. Yeah. And shout out to Cute's Perspective. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Let's see. Axel Save the World was actually meant to be the only mode. Blue Epic wanted more money to develop Save the World, so they made Battle Royale in 8 months. And when it was popular, they said, "Screw the people who paid money." Yeah, it released like 3 years later. Yeah, 60 FPS over ray tracing, shadow quality. I need my hand camera speed not to be disoriented. Okay, well there you go. Shout out to Jason Max. You are the real MVP. If I didn't already say, he says, "MAA ga my aga, make AA great again." It's already great. Let's see. Graphic God, shout out to Graphic God. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. All right, let me see. Did I catch up everybody? And of course, Noof Nukem is there. Shout out to Noof. Thank you so much for joining us. Noof, you are the real MVP. Brando Calrizia says, free to play is taking over. Why pay $70 when the game is free? Yeah, absolutely. Free to play is the way the young generation is learning to play. Free with ads. Let's see. Studios will have to turn to being acquired by big companies like Microsoft, Tencent, etc. They already are. Let's see. I had your timeout messages here. Oh, no. It already posted it. Great. Awesome. All right. Let's see. The biggest reason for the downturn in the game industry is too many games. Everyone is fighting for your time and money. I think games have always been there, but I feel like before the too many games were a bunch of indies that weren't that great. And now these indie developers have experience. They grew up. They've learned, and now these indies are coming out to be, in some cases, better than AAAs. And that might have something to do with it, too. Let's see. Same with layoffs in the gaming industry have always been a thing every year, sometimes more than others. It will always be a thing when big games get released, canceled, or struggle to sell. I feel like this year, in the last 6 months, the game industry has laid off more than normal. Like a lot more than normal. Let's see. Fossil 924 says GTA 6 will cost $150.
Hope not.
That's the devs what they like about PlayStation. Money. The money. I mean, just being honest, the money. Yeah. Let's see. Fossil PlayStation speciality is overpaying for studios. Oh, hit that Bungie. Crack towards Bungie right there. Let's see. And computers are how much as well? Lots of electronics were expensive then versus now. Yeah, a lot cheaper now. Let's see. Noof Nukem says, can we also blame publishers for game increases when they see companies charging stupid prices for controllers and headset? Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely blame whoever we want. Graphic God says, I remember paying $100 for games in the 90s. Yeah, I remember
he's also paying
Virtual Racing
Canada
was $120 because of the SVP chip.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. And it was the only game to use SVP. So yeah, I remember paying that.
Don't forget,
RWK88 says, good morning, y'all. I'm sorry, say that again, Dreadpool.
I said graphic card's paying Canadian dollars.
Oh man, Canadian dollars. Oh my gosh.
So,
He was paying 300 Canadian dollars. Let's see. RWK88 says, good morning, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. RWK88, you are the real MVP. Let's see. Axel, COVID played a big part because more were hired during that time. Yeah, games were the escape during COVID. Everybody wanted to put out games during COVID. I would say it was the peak of engagement. Oh, that's a conversation between him and Graphic God. Let's see. Raising game prices during a recession was inexcusable, in my opinion. Yeah, the recession is bad. Gamble on the small upfront payout. Yeah. Even though some indies games do great, most of them don't. Like 90% of indies never get the attention of gamers, unfortunately. Yeah. Let's see. Gaming has the same problem. Hollywood, WB especially, has budgets are way too high, and 90% of what they're making people don't want. Yeah. Games as a service. You know. All right, Dreadpool, let me pull up my topics again. Whew, they are way up there now. Shout out to the chat, guys. I appreciate you guys being so engaging on this topic. Let's hear Dreadpool's take. Studios closing, layoffs, game prices, review scores. Those are the 4 reasons why I believe the video game industry will crash or is heading towards a crash. Take it away, Dread.
It will crash. When is a different story. That's the key issue. When. We may see basically Sony pull a Sega, where they just may have to pull out of the console business. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't have to necessarily be the ET Atari crash. It doesn't have to be like that. There was a game that was called, what was that? Zelda Breath of the Wild, that sold more than Switch consoles were around.
More copies of Breath of the Wild
they were also sold
before
for
people could get a hold of the Switch, the launch title. Yeah.
Well, they were also sold for the Wii U.
Yeah.
So again, only knowing half the information is misleading. So when you know more about it, it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. But yeah, studios closing, that happens all the time. As who is it? I think Chris said it. They hired more people in the wake of COVID, and look at Mixer. Mixer didn't grow where every other service grew, and Mixer got shut down. And a lot of us still miss Mixer. We wish that we still had it, but sometimes certain things just don't happen on the upscale. Well, now it's on the downscale, so you're going to see these layoffs, and it's unfortunate. And I've always said game prices should reflect what the game is actually worth. I understand if it's a bigger game, more complex, I can understand a little bit more money. The open world aspect, I don't use that as an excuse to charge more money, because you're going to charge me money in the back end anyway. Free to play games, they're charging you on the back end. So yeah, it's free to play now, but you're paying on the back end if you want the extra skins, if you want the extra modes, maps, whatever. You're paying it on the back end. You're paying to stay in there and to be up to date, right? You're paying to keeping up with the Joneses, if you guys know that saying. That's all it is. So when the game prices back in the 90s, games were a lot more complete, very, very minimal bugs. But you also got to remember, those games were like a couple megs to a couple hundred megs. In the PS3 and 360 era, they were 600. I'm sorry, they were up to 6 gig. Now we're looking at 100 gig, 150 gig, almost 200 gig, depending on the type of games we're playing. So you look at that from 16 to 25 meg to 100 gig, there's bound to be issues.
Yeah.
There's bound to be all this.
And the physics engines are so much more complex now.
Right. And that's the thing, we've talked about this before, talking with devs. You only have a box a certain size, and within that size, that's what you got to fit everything in. So the more stuff you put in there, the more complexity you put in there, less you have for anything else. So you have to play the give and take on what you're going to put in there. You put the physics engine in there, you put the ray tracing engine in there, you're putting all these technologies in there. Well, where's the room for the game? What was the Ubisoft one? Legion. Forgot, Terry. You know it.
Explain it a little bit.
It's the one where you're a hacker, and the newest one.
Oh, Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs. Thank you. The newest Watch Dogs, right? They ray traced everything. Everything had a coat of Vaseline on it. It didn't matter if it was rainy or sunny. It was the same coat of Vaseline on it. They just overdid it. And that's the thing is sometimes, the new technology, everybody wants to highlight that we have it, and they overdid it. So the game itself was decent. It was good. It could have been better if they invested more time and away from ray tracing and more time into the storyline and more time into the controls. Again, there are certain things. And then you look at, again, you go back to the 90s, games were $100, but you also could buy a game at $30.
A triple A game for $30.
Right. So
not a
Secret of
double
Mana,
A. Some of those games for $30 were flat out. I felt like I was robbing them.
right. So it just depends. Secret of Mana, $100. That's US. So think about that when you're looking at it, and you're looking at games like Final Fantasy, $80-$90. You're looking at Mario. What was Mario? Mario was like $40-$50 at that time.
$50. Well, Super Mario Bros. 1, I think, came with the NES. I never saw a price on that. Bros 2, I think, was $40, and Bros 3 was $60.
Again, so it just depended on, and 2 was actually a reskin of another game.
Yeah. $40. Yeah.
So, they priced it accordingly. They didn't just say, you know what, we're just going to jack it up to the highest amount that everybody's doing. Industry standard. You know what the industry standard was? Variable pricing, reasonable pricing, depending on what they thought their game was worth and how much they put into it. And that's the issue, that a lot of this stuff is happening, is people aren't buying games because of this. It's not because of Game Pass. Game Pass is getting more people to play games. Those devs and those studios are actually getting money because the bag is being handed over for a certain amount of money. Or, I'm sorry, a certain amount of time on a platform to get them. So they're getting that money up front. So, and it's their choice, and every single one of them have said it has helped their situation out better than had they had just gone straight out with just being released to open to the public. That's it. No Game Pass. Only one person had ever complained about Game Pass, and that was a ex-CEO that was no longer with the company, and he left before the company actually made the Game Pass deal. So put that in perspective on someone talking a lot of trash that had no idea what they're talking about. And then when we'll move on to the review scores. Again, like you said,
this can kill a game.
Good.
The media can kill a game.
Yeah. Back in those days,
when
we were younger, we'd have to look at magazines. And once we started buying our own game, because when it came out to what was something that we liked, we picked what we liked. Didn't matter what the score was. The score helped out solidify that this is going to be my game. If it was a 60, it was like, this is my thing, though. I like this kind of game. And they would do that. When it came to a $70 game, and again, it's, your birthday, your Christmas present, whatever, you picked what you wanted. Now, as you got older, I know for us, we got older, we couldn't really afford it, and I was working to buy these games. I put it in my head that anything above a 92 is what I'm going to pay for. Anything else below it, I'm not paying for it out of my own pocket, but I'll ask a family member to pay for it for me, because then I wouldn't feel as gypped.
Your birthday coming up.
Yeah, exactly. So, depending on what it was, if I really wanted the game, I'd work my way to do that. So I can understand how that shifted from reading magazines and reading different opinions and actual journalism of what the game was about. Not, it's an Xbox game, it's going to suck, don't even worry about it, it's a never was. We didn't have those Dan Stapletons. And like I said, Ryan McCaffrey was, at that time, a little bit more credible. And we don't have social media like we did back then. There wasn't anything like this back in those days. Going to the websites was all we had, and then talking within our, amongst our friends. Now we're talking across the world to each and every one of you guys, as well as to each other, and comparison. So we actually have a bigger demographic than we did before. And you would think that we would have a better stability, and we don't, because of journalists doing certain things, and other people in the communities that also are negating anything that's a good game. Because if it's not AAA, high rated, high price, this type
High
of,
marketing.
yeah, then it sucks. There is no reason why it sucks. It just sucks, and you don't know what you're talking about. It's going back to the screaming at each other versus where the rest of us actually have discussions and talking about stuff like this, right? And here, and through this, I was reading on one of the devs way back in the day. He was talking about how their marketing is equal to or a little bit higher than the price than what it costs for the game to create. So if you're talking about a $300,000 game, they spent $300,000 in marketing to $600,000 in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about games that are costing $3 million plus. That's $6 million plus for marketing. No wonder they don't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder they're charging so much, because they're putting so much in there. And if you look at it, when you look at the competitor, 10% of the numbers that they use for console sales is what they're getting in the software sale. Of course they're not making it. And that's the problem, is they're putting way too much money into these games, but not putting the quality there. And quality and graphics are one thing, but how about quality and storyline? How about quality?
Yeah, content. The actual content.
The content. Yeah. You got to have
Gameplay is
there.
king. I will always say that.
Yeah. But you also have the controls. You have to have, there's a lot of things that have to match up. And I like that pie chart you guys were talking about, the 2 out of 3.
Yeah, pick 2.
But the problem is today's gamers are picking the 4 out of 3. The fourth one is the little pie out on the outside of the pie chart, which is called damn near everything impossible. And they try to fit that in there.
Ray tracing, ray tracing in there.
Yeah, so they're trying to fit everything that you can never fit into that box, and they'll try to wedge it in there as much as they can, and that's the problem, is they're setting up unrealistic expectations, and that's what's going on with these teams. These teams are doing their best to their abilities. Some of them are doing exceptionally well. Some of them are failing, and it's funny how double A's are actually better than triple A's. Indies are better than triple A's. That should tell you where the trend is, that they're spending more money and not getting anything back, because it's a waste of the time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of effort. But that being said, we have Perfect Dark with the Initiative being
with the
quadruple A.
Yeah.
So
studio.
Think about that. Think about that now. If we have studios closing, layoffs, game prices, what do you think's going to happen with some of this stuff? There's going to be a breaking point, and the breaking point might not be an actual crash like the Atari had for the industry with ET. It's just ET's getting blamed, but it might not be that, right? It might not be that same visual we're having. But here's the other thought, right? What's food prices right now? What is vehicle prices right now? You're talking about
prices,
right? You're talking about inflation
almost
beyond
100%
the normal
increase,
right?
In price.
Something that costs people, I don't know, a couple $100 to rent is now a couple $1,000 to rent.
What makes me so bad about this inflation is that it was driven by greed, not by the market.
Correct.
That makes me so mad. And now we're in recession because of it. That drives me insane.
So, but they won't admit that we're in a recession, which is even funnier. They won't admit to it. Quarter over quarter, we met all the standards that would set a recession for over a year now, and they still won't admit to it. But yet, this is where we are too with the video game industry.
Everybody feels it except the bigwigs.
Well, that's because they're charging that extra dollar that it costs to give somebody 15 cents. Like, oh, it's across the board, but that's an extra dollar per person that you're charging me for them to get 15 cents or even a penny, right?
Yeah.
So it's just we have to, again, pay with our vote with our wallets, pay what we actually think, and forget about Metacritic. Use it as a tool that it's supposed to be, but because people are manipulating these tools, you're not going to get the truthful answer. So you kind of have to use it with a grain of salt. You have to figure out what's going on. I feel bad for all these people that are getting laid off. I feel bad for the studios that are closing, but unfortunately, it's part of the industry. It's part of life. Hopefully, they will get back on their feet and they will not feel a lot of the damages that happen from being laid off. I mean, we've heard stories of people just moved to get closer to the studio to do this stuff, and it's no longer, their job's no longer there. How you just waste all that money to move, and now you got to figure out where to go.
Yep.
With no money.
Yeah, imagine getting it. A lot of people, video games is their dream job.
Yeah.
And imagine getting your dream job and then just, oh, we overhired, you're out. And now, you had quit your previous job, right? I'm assuming that these are people who are professionals elsewhere, right?
Yes.
Imagine having quit your dream job, having moved your family or whatever, and only to get laid off. That's that. I feel for them. There should be laws against that. This is why I'm so pro-union, because there is not laws. If the government will protect you, got to protect yourself. Just saying.
Yeah.
And not that I'm not asking for freebies. I'm just asking for,
assistance,
a consideration of what I gave up to be here.
Right. And that's why government assistance should be that. It should be government assistance, not government assistant to take over and be a crutch.
Yeah, it shouldn't be government dependence.
But that's the other thing too, is you should also personally, you should also be well adjusted in your monetary collection spending, on a personal level. Because if you're going to spend that money, you shouldn't spend the last dime to do something like that. You should have a bank account.
Yeah, and that's responsible. Fiscally responsible. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. So, let's see. Right. So I put this up here again so I wouldn't lose my place in the chat, because you guys are on fire today, chat. Shout out to you. You are all amazing. Fastback says, I avoided buying games back day one in the 90s because of price hikes on Nintendo 64. So I turned to PC. Hey, PC was more affordable, and it still is.
I went to PC too for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. DE says, is the crash just outside investors leaving? The people are going to crash because they're a game like let's just pretend Suicide Squad or Skull and Bones are considered to hit below expectations, even though they sell 20 million units. Even though they sell 10 million, 8 million, whatever, right? Let's just go slow. Let's go 10 million. Even though they sell 10 million copies, they're still considered a loss because they didn't recover the development cost and the marketing cost for that game. So, when the bar for success is so ridiculously high, like you must sell 50, 60 million units for this to be considered successful, that is a hell of a bar. I mean, 50, 60 million is 50% of the console install base in the world.
So think about that. Now let's go back to Grounded. We had how many? We had 12 devs.
12 devs, 20 million.
Right?
Yeah. More curated.
And now it's going to go multi-plat per se.
Mm-hmm.
So think
maybe
about
another
that
20
again.
million.
Exactly. So sometimes being exclusive is not a good thing. Look at Spider-Man.
Yeah, but Skull and Bones and Suicide Squad were not exclusive,
right?
And they still were considered not meeting expectations, right? Oh, was that on purpose, Terry? Send me a message. Let me know. I have no idea what happened.
He's like, screw you guys, I'm out of here.
Skull and Bones, whatever you guys.
Bringing Skull and Bones up again.
I'm tired of it. I can hear Terry right now. Oh, here we go. Okay, so it was not on purpose. I'm bringing you back in. You're back in, Terry.
You should have heard everything he said about Skull and Bones.
I heard
Hear
it. It had a little notification saying "Oops, lost connection," and then I saw the video was like buffering. I'm like, is this me or did Axel lose everything? And then, but I can still hear you guys talking on this end. Just I don't know. And then it like flashed and I was gone. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, it's all right. Let's see. Scott Free says this is more market correction for gaming. Way too many AAA games and high budgets. I want to say most NES games for $49.99. Absolutely, absolutely. Also has a change in characters and writing is considered woke hurt game sales, even if popular among media.
Yes.
Woke. Yes. Well, the way I understand woke is that it deviates from the status quo. So characters changing from one game to another game, like I don't know, changing their models completely. I don't think is unheard of. I don't know, like has it hurt it? Maybe a little bit here and there, but because you fall in love with a character, right? And if that character suddenly isn't, like your character, the character you wanted, then maybe that would hurt it. So like, let's take like Mass Effect 3, like Mass Effect, for example, Commander Shepard. If Commander Shepard suddenly turned into not Commander Shepard, wasn't his own regular personality, would that have hurt it? Possibly. But what definitely would have hurt him is like, oh, suddenly Commander Shepard is, I don't know, a girl. Or something like that. Then
this is not a good example because Commander
you
Shepard
can be
had the option.
Yeah.
This is not a good example.
My Commander Shepard was a boy, okay? So I don't understand the whole woke verb, in my opinion. To me, it just means the way I've understood it is anything that changes the status quo. Like, back in my day, anything that's not like it was back in your day is woke, and I don't understand that.
No, that's not it.
It's not.
But
it's not it. But it's a little bit more political.
But when it comes to like changing characters, I think the big thing that hurts is the gender and race swapping. That's the stuff that is not going over very well.
Yeah, the race swapping and gender swapping, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that hurting it. But yeah, if you mean by woke going more political, then yeah, I think that really hurts games because nobody wants to play a political game.
It's not political. It's what Terry said. It's where they what was it? Tifa, her breasts were reduced because they were apparently unnatural.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what happened was they reduced it and they got a lot of backlash, so they made them even bigger.
Nice.
So
that's the kind of wokeness.
There was a lot, but that was the fight back because it's just like with Disney. Disney's movies right now are to that point where they're pushing an agenda that nobody wants, and it's not family oriented like it was built upon, and all their movies that are coming out are flopping. That is part of the same thing. This is what's going on in the video game industry also. Storylines are changed. I'm trying to find the person that I just literally watched it the other day. Someone had it about a company that is writing storylines.
Oh, the baby whatever?
Yeah, that one.
Baby something? Yeah.
Baby Alien or something like that, right?
Yeah, that they're involved in everything that is quote unquote woke in the game industry right now.
Right, and someone actually created
tracked the games they were developing. It was amazing. But Steam has removed some of that tracking. It used to list 23 games, now it only lists 17. And it seems to be going down by the day. So Steam is definitely getting rid of that.
Yeah, but the problem is...
Oh, speaking of back in my day when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Shout out to Death Dealer. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. Yeah. Let's see. Fossil924 says, I never go by review scores. If the game has a technical issue, I'll wait until they fix and then decide. Yeah. Death Dealer says, Dreadpool, you are older than the internet. Back in your day, they had to write on cave walls.
No, we didn't write. We painted.
Let's see. Fossil924 says, I really don't like point and click games. It's not my thing. And I still bought Baldur's Gate. Yeah, that's definitely a point and click. Yeah. As coolcatterri said, social media, toxic fanboys, clickbait, YouTubers, influencers use biased opinions for views that hurt a game before played. Hence, yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I agree 100% with this fastback. In my opinion, Xbox is treated differently in part because evil Microsoft is an American company, etc. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Degina says every year we hear new engines will make dev jobs easier, minutes to try and build instead of days to complete. Ray tracing and nanite instead of using to make OG idea. They just aim bigger as more time on hand. Yeah.
See, but that's the
see.
thing is people forget that some of these tools, AI, is what everybody's on right now. Everybody's right. Everything we have, Copilot is AI on Windows. We have this that's AI here. That we have that is AI. But guess what? We used to write everything in BASIC. We used to write websites with HTML. Now we have a drag and drop on it on your website. Now you have you went from C to C plus to C plus plus, and you have all these tools. That's all it is a tool. And unfortunately, some of these companies are using these tools as the end all be all. And unfortunately for this, people are looking at this as also part of the downfall. But it's just a tool to help speed things up. That's all it is. You still have to have human interaction. It's not a complete 100% machine run. So, just saying.
Yeah, AI tools are definitely helpful. Fastback. Dreadpool goes straight to breast. I typed something private to you, Dread.
I was gonna. You want me to respond with that one?
It's up to you. It's your. I said it in private because I don't know if you want me to say it.
Oh, that's fine. I'll say it. Have you seen my wife, Chris?
There's some people are breast men, some people are butt men. Dreadpool is obviously a breast man. Okay.
I'm a curve man. A
curve
slender
man.
curve.
There you go.
Slender
Front
curve
curves, man. To be specific.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's see. DE says ray trace boobs. All of a sudden, 30 frames per second sounds acceptable.
DE, you missed Friday night. I got to tell you, you missed Friday night. We had
DE
boob physics. You guys know I can see. Yes, we know you're. We know you're in the chat. Yes, we know you're in the chat.
She came in there. Wow, she sounded fired up.
She wanted to make sure I didn't forget. I knew.
Forget what?
She was listening. If she didn't hear me physically here, she heard me here with you guys.
Let's see. The series is so relieved at the moment right now that everything is now being blamed on Baby Inc. Yeah, that's what it is. Baby Inc. Yeah.
Sweet Baby.
What is it?
Sweet Baby.
Sweet Baby Inc. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Sweet Baby Inc. is the cancer video games right now. Let's see. Dreadpool, I'm a curve man too. Love my wife. We are lucky men.
Yes, we are.
There you go. I love my wife. I'm lucky. She's gorgeous. Let's see. Back on topic. I don't know how we get off on these topics. Good God. I'm sorry, you guys. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. That was great.
Talk about a crash.
Yeah, you crashed this topic. That's for sure. Let me pull up my thing. Okay, here we go. Let me type it in. So I type in my break in the chat here. Studios closing. Okay, there we go. And I type that so I can see my break in the chat. Okay, here we go. All right. So, studios closing. Is all this leading to a video game industry crash? I think there have been more studios closing recently, not just being closed, but like indie closures. Like that has always been normal. Indie studios not making it is a normal thing in this industry. What is abnormal is year after year, a studio has closed at a platform holders division every year. PlayStation has closed 4 studios in 4 years. That's crazy. I think PlayStation had maybe in the 20 years, 25 years it's been in existence, has closed maybe a total before that 8 studios, and now they're up to 12 studios. Don't quote me on that number, but I'm fairly sure it's accurate or close to accurate. And never in succession, year after year after year. Microsoft isn't necessarily closing studios, but they consolidated a lot of stuff. They shut down divisions that were repetitive amongst their acquisitions. But that's normal through acquisitions. Xbox hasn't laid off studios, but they laid off 1,400 developers. That is the biggest developer layoff Xbox had ever had. Nintendo, I think, is still going pretty good overall. Although I do think they closed one studio in like the last 5 years. So studios are closing from the platform holders is more rare than studios just being shuttered. Like let's pretend, okay, so like EA bought Maxis. Maxis, the maker of The Sims and SimCity and stuff. They shut them down. EA doing that is quite normal because they're EA. They kill studios. That's what they're known for. Before that, Activision bought Sierra. They shut down Sierra back in the day because they had no need for Sierra. They just wanted the IPs, stuff like that, right? I think the rate of studio closing should alarm people because that is more studios in a condensed timeline than have ever been from platform holders, and big time third parties. So that's dangerous to me. And of course, layoffs. I'm just talking that with studios closing comes layoffs. Where they're being laid off because their jobs are now redundant, where it was overstaffed or whatever, they have no reason to keep those people on. They're trying to keep the studio from closing so first they try layoffs. Bungie famously said that they laid people off trying to keep the studio from losing its independent status with PlayStation, from being the hostile takeover, if you will, even though it's not really hostile, it's part of the contract. And PlayStation even gave Bungie $1 billion to not lay anybody off, and they still had to lay off people. Will Bungie be closed off? Probably not, but they're probably going to lose control, their independent control here, if the what is it, the Final Light? What is their newest expansion? Something. I don't know what I'm not a Destiny guy.
It was that good that nobody remembers.
Well, I'm just not a Destiny guy. The Final Shape, that's what it is. The Final Shape. If the Final Shape doesn't do well, Bungie the board of directors is gonna get replaced by PlayStation board of directors and be fully, under PlayStation's control. So all of this is companies are trying to save money because something is happening in the game industry. The games are not being as profitable as they once were. Game prices are they're talking about raising them again. We went many years without a price hike, and now in one generation we're going to possibly get 2 price hikes. That's crazy to me. I don't know if I'm attracted to that, but even the consoles went up. I mean, PlayStation is selling for what, 600 or is it 650? In countries that are not the US. Xbox is the same thing. They raised their price on Xbox consoles in other countries, not the US. So prices of consoles is also going up. So game prices, the price to game is going up. So these companies are desperate. Like I feel that this is all leading to this desperation of companies trying to hold on to themselves before they just have to operating costs just exceed a breaking point and they have to dissolve. And I have a feeling that once they dissolve, they're going to dissolve even more in more dramatic fashion than they are now. Right now, where publishers are closing 1 studio a year, they could be closing 3 studios a year. I mean, that's a real crash, But why aren't these companies making games? I mean, Rocksteady, who has never missed, right? Rocksteady, makers of the Batman Arkham series, they missed, and they never miss. But why did they miss? And I think it's because Suicide Squad was reviewed for what it wasn't instead of what it was, because it wasn't a dark, gritty Batman Arkham game. It was a live service game, but people who play it tell me, yeah, the shooting mechanics were good, the story was great, the character development was great, but I forgot about it because it's a games as a service game, whatever, right? Same thing with Skull and Bones. It's being reviewed for what it's not. It's being compared to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because in Black Flag you could park anywhere and disembark and all this and actually be a player on the boat and all this stuff. So Skull and Bones is being hated on for what it isn't instead of what it is, which Terry says what it is fantastic, right? So I believe that the review scores, the media, who relies on video games to exist themselves, they are playing a dangerous game here. Because if their content goes away, what are they going to report on? Who are they going to hate on? And if they don't, with the amazing reporting that we're getting from people like Dan Stapleton and Ryan McCaffrey over at IGN, if it's anything like that, I mean, the game industry can't do no right. Just flat out can't do no right. And so that's what all this is doing, and what I believe is coming to the video game crash. It's going to suddenly just burst. Yeah. So I think that's what's happening. But as with 1983, the biggest factor in 1983 that led to the video game crashing was people stopped spending money at the arcade, and arcade boards became very expensive to keep making a game that was a single-use arcade board. Back then, it was super custom. If you wanted to make this game, it needed this specific arcade board. Then, 1983 crash happened, and the arcade board changed. Now they really started releasing arcade boards that could run several games, right? And arcades themselves started seeing their demise when home consoles became super popular. The video game industry has always adjusted to keep existing. When the single-use arcade board died, the multi-use arcade board came in. When the arcades died, the home console market came in. Now the home console market could be, on its way out, and the mobile first market, is coming in. When I'm telling you guys, it's a big deal that my Samsung Galaxy here can do ray tracing. That's a big deal. That's my little phone can do the same ray tracing as my Xbox, probably a Series S, but still it can do it, right? That's a big deal. So we're going from these single-use consoles to multi-use, multimedia consumption devices that are in our hands. And so I think the industry is really just starting to adjust to this mobile idea. And, Xbox, if you want to see where the future is going, you just got to look at where Xbox is going. Xbox sees where the industry is going, and they are reacting on it first. As unpopular as that might be to us, they are reacting to it first. Xbox is on any screen. Well, I got a nice screen here. This is my Xbox in the future, right? PlayStation consoles, they're getting, and Nintendo consoles, they're getting first party games from Xbox because, Xbox is now monthly active users. It's not a console anymore, right? Game Pass is your Xbox now, is now the exclusive. The game industry is adjusting, and everybody's adjusting to it. And I think, is the video game market crashing? I think the way we grew up with it for the last 20 years is done. And the way people like Tiny Giant are going to grow into it, people like my nephews are going to grow into it, is coming into fruition because it just has to. It just changed at a faster rate back in the 80s and 90s because, arcades are dead. You can't find an arcade nowadays. Very rarely can you find an arcade. And if you do find an arcade, it's attached to a pizzeria or something else to subsidize that arcade. You really can't find a standalone arcade anymore. Not in my city anyway. It used to be you went to the mall and there was the arcade in the mall, the dedicated arcade in the mall, and that's all it did.
I mean, we used to have 2 dedicated arcades in the mall, competing against each other.
Competing, yeah. I remember I went to an arcade called Sega GameWorks. It was a 5-story building of nothing but arcades. 5 stories.
Disney had the what was it, Quest, which was like a 5-story arcade. We were in a pirate ship fighting against other pirates, which were, the video game, and we physical cannons that we were firing. You had different things going on. So yeah, it's no longer what it used to be. That place is gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And Terry is a console gamer and a PC gamer. She's never going to go play mobile. She's never going to use this as her primary gaming thing. She's never going to buy an Asus ROG Ally. I personally would love to have an Asus ROG Ally. Dread, you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Terry will be with you once Skull and Bones crosses over there.
No.
No. But yeah, you guys, I mean, the game industry is changing. The way games are being made is changing. You now have Hideo Kojima making a cloud-first game. That's different. So the game industry is changing. They're trying to stay alive because the way they've been doing it for 20 years is no longer working. It's no longer sustainable. There are more people being entertained by this than being entertained by this in their hands. You only got 2 hands, guys. Last I checked, you need 2 hands to use this one, right? So they want to make sure that the people that are being entertained by this are, in essence, using this with it, right? So do I think the video game market is crashing? I think the console home market is crashing, and it's going to move over to the mobile market. Just my opinion. Take it for what you will. I do think it is coming. It's inevitable. Now, will it be a full-on crash like in 1983? No, there's too much money. There's billions of dollars right now being poured into video games. But where those billions of dollars are going is definitely changing. It's no longer billions of dollars into the consoles. It's billions of dollars into your mobile. And I think my chat has frozen, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this topic. Anybody got anything else to say?
How about this one? Right. Netflix. Oh, look, there's games. Right there.
Hold on.
Games.
It's too. Yeah, I'll believe you. I'll believe you, Dread.
Yeah. But it's got mobile games. San Andreas, Rainbow Six, Pinmaster, SpongeBob, Dead Cells, Farming Simulator 23, Football Manager 2024, Solitaire, Sonic Prime Dash. I mean,
that's cool. I'm gonna have to check out that Netflix app.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. So I mean, there's so many games on here. I haven't played any of them, to be honest. But that's where
maybe your daughter
Somebody's playing this for it to be on here.
Your daughter? Tiny Giant?
No. I'm just saying somebody's playing in the world.
On Netflix, for Netflix.
Yeah. Nobody plays on my phone but me.
There you go. All right, let's see. The Gina says, not gaming influenced my taste in women. Not gaming influenced my taste in women. But I played a lot of Street Fighter, and now I have a thing for Asian ladies with huge thighs. There you go. When you move away from what is popular and Batman is more popular than Suicide Squad, then I still want to play it, though. Yeah, I'm still going to play Suicide Squad. Let's see. Back from the Dead said, if consoles go away, I'm going to my PC, not my phone.
See, but that's the thing. But what about your kids?
Your kids, yeah. You're the old man back from the dead. Remember that. We're the old people. We're 40 plus now. We may as well be dead to them. Just saying. When you look at your niece and nephew, they look at you like you are a grandparent.
They think the 90s are ancient history.
That's right. So. When they look at my ID, they don't even look for the year anymore. They just see if it starts with the 19. Yep. Yeah. Let's see. Degina says, market is going more multi-platform. Different market, but Spotify re-signed Joe Rogan, but is now putting the show everywhere possible to get as much as revenue as they can. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's see. But mobile can be used to play on TV or mobile like Switch being a hybrid. Yeah, I agree. And the genius says, I heard the term, all I need to entertain myself is the thing in my hand, but I never knew it was a phone they were talking about. Yeah, true story. Let's see. Consoles are not evolving, but they are not going away, but they're evolving like the Switch. Yeah, get ready to see more hybrid consoles. I think that's the future, and I'm here for it. Let's see. My kids are going to Switch, semi-mobile. I'm mid-30s, you fossil. Shout out to Back from the Dead.
Still born in the 1900s.
By the way, Back from the Dead, I want you to know, because you have kids, you're going to look older than me in 5 years. Just saying. Look at Dreadpool. Dreadpool's only 39. Look at him. Look at him.
I didn't get my grays until I got married, and then I had more grays when I got my firstborn, so my only born.
Yeah. There you go. So, and now look at me. Still no grays. Still young.
What about these grays?
All right. Kids?
You got some grays here.
No kids. All right. We're going to go like the Blackpink song. Look at you. Now look at me. Yeah. Yeah, just having some fun here, guys. No, the grays started coming in here. Specifically on this side, right here. And yeah, I can't deal with it. And gray started coming in over here as well, right? I think I got like one gray hair here. Like if I shave high, I can get it, but if I shave low, I don't. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna go with less grays. They're coming in. They're coming in. Screw you, Fastback. Fastback says Axel is dying. Oh my goodness. All right. With that being said, guys, that's gonna do it for this topic, and we are gonna get ready to change topics over to Terry's Indie Spotlight. Let's see. Don't you blame us? At least you still have hair. Look at your brother and dad, no hair. Hey, yeah, you know what? That means you haven't got it all, Death Dealer. You got to stress him out a little more.
My dad was balding at 14, and my brother started balding around 18, 19.
I see. Yeah. I'm joining Back from the Dead and going PC. However, I'm 38, so the old man hypothesis holds up. Yeah, you might as well be dead to these kids. Let's see. My 10-year-old is a mobile gamer, like many her age. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. All right. So here we go. You ready for your Indie Spotlight, Terry?
I am.
All right, let's get it going.
Everybody, I'm back with another Indie Spotlight, and this is a nice little special one. So this is going to be for all of you that like Westerns and like Metrovanias, but this is going to be a little bit of a twist. All right. Oh. This is going to be the very first of its kind, a Motorvania. Come check it out.
I love the song already.
Something lost in me.
Awesome.
There's nothing else to live for anymore. There's nothing else to do. There's nowhere else to go. There's nothing else to live for anymore.
I'm in.
All right, my friends. So here you have I'm not really sure how you correctly pronounce it, so forgive me, but Laika Age Through Blood, your very first Metroidvania game. This game has a very deep story. It's going to follow a lot of between loss and vengeance. It follows a coyote mother and her little daughter. They're riding together on a motorcycle as they go through this post-apocalyptic world, basically on this huge journey of vengeance. Their tribe was greatly oppressed, and the mother has decided to go and give out some grievances that she has. All right, so go ahead.
Wait,
And
so the
check
main
this
character
out.
is a girl? The mother?
It's Mother Coyote, and she has her little pup on her back.
That is so cool.
while
I
they
thought
go
that was a
through-
dude, but yeah, she's
yeah,
badass.
yeah.
She's
So
badass.
it's a great, fantastic game. We got some epic boss fights on there, and from the trailer. So go ahead and check this out. Now, this game is on all platforms for $20. The main story will take about 10 to 12 hours. If you're a completionist and you want 100% you'll get about 25 hours worth of game time to go through the whole thing. And there is a demo available on PC. If you want to try the demo first, you're welcome to go ahead and do that. But otherwise, yeah, go ahead and get it on your platform of choice. It's everywhere.
Awesome. That I'm not gonna lie. I was smiling the whole way through that trailer. The song, the art,
It's got fantastic art.
Motorvania, as you call it. Yeah.
Motorvania, and it's got so like the little cutscene at the at the very beginning, and the little cutscene at the end of the little pup howling. So you're gonna have actual animated cutscenes through your story as well. So
look at that, more animation than in Redfall. By the way, Terry, I'm sorry, but going back to our previous topic, you can only pick two. Which two would you rather have? So, Terry, what were the poll results, and which two would you rather have?
Whoops. All right. What's important to you? You can only have two. 43% picked content and quality. 40% are quality and price, and 15% are price and content. For me, I'm right there with the content and the quality. I want a great story and great gameplay. Graphics aren't the biggest thing to me. Story and gameplay the biggest for me, and I'll pay good money for a good experience. But it looks like that's pretty much where most of the viewers are as well, which makes it strange because you keep hearing all these people complaining about price. If price isn't that high up on the thing for you, then
Raise the price, this Xbox.
I'm just saying.
It's official. 43% of your gamers will stay on.
I'm just saying, if you're right up there saying you want the highest quality content in game, then you can't be complaining about the price point. Then that's all I'm saying.
Dreadpool, what about you? Which two are yours?
I'm in the 15 percentile.
Price and content?
Yep, because I won't pay $150 for Skull and Bones.
I didn't pay $150 for Skull and Bones.
No, but it's right.
I forgot the fourth one, collectibles and the content, because I love paying for collectibles.
It's just again, I think it just depends on what you're getting for the price. So it's not that I want the cheapest. I just want the price to be reasonable to the game.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Dreadpool. I'm going price and content because if the content is there, then the quality will be there in my head. I want to feel like I got my money's worth, especially now that I'm an older adult.
I think
so maybe if I was younger, like Terry, if I was a young gun, content and quality would still be.
I'm not that young.
You're much younger than me.
I think it all becomes in relation because for the price, the quality that you get makes sense. Mm-hmm. So if your price is at $70, you better be getting a $70 game, which would be not just the content, but that would be your quality too. So
I feel like price definitely dictates everything else.
Right.
It depends on what you view as quality, though, as well.
Right.
I can play an indie game for like $20, and I can see that as the same value as some of my $60+ games I play. So it really depends on what your quality is. Like, I don't need 60 frames or 4K to be happy.
Ray tracing is what Dreadpool is all about.
I'm content. I just want great story and gameplay.
Skull and Bones and all that Vaseline.
Shout out to Lou Cypher. Thank you so much for joining us. You're the real MVP. Played a little Power with Lou earlier. If you take the money Sony spent on keeping games off of the consoles, they would be able to keep 900 people. Dang. Wow. Dang.
Ouch.
No lies detected. Anyways, but yeah, like Kia. Lakia? I don't know how to Laika. Did they say the name?
I think it's Leica, but I'm not sure.
All right, we'll go with Leica. So back to Leica. If you guys didn't know, we reported on this a while ago that Indie Selects was happening, and February's Indie Selects are an amazing, delightful indie games chosen by the team of Xbox. And we're going to skip down here. Leica is one of the Indie Selects this month, so woo!
And I didn't even know that. True story. I literally picked this game out, and then Axel's like, "Yo, we're gonna do the thing." I'm like, "Well, what's the game list for the thing?" He's like, "Click this." I clicked it. I'm like, "What? My game is there."
Yeah, this morning. So
I was like, "What?"
yeah,
Was
so
not
in
planned.
the select, so right away we're getting a glowing recommendation, and I gotta tell you that trailer was fire. I'm not gonna lie, that trailer was amazing. I'm gonna play it again, not with audio, but this trailer for Leica is amazing. I don't know how much this game is. Actually, it shows it on the
This is a $20 game.
I think it shows it on the Indie Selects. Yeah. So sorry, it shows it right here. Leica Age True Blood is $20 on Xbox right now. So yeah, you can play this amazing looking
Lots of
Motorvania
backflips.
and to shoot while you're riding your motorcycle. I mean, look, that looks so cool. I'm in. Like, as soon as I saw like some of this stuff, I was like, yeah, I mean, I want to play this game.
Leica is actually a dog.
It's Coyote. I told you that.
Coyote.
It was a Soviet space dog who was the first.
What?
The Soviet space dog was named Leica.
Oh, no. So there you go, guys. That is the first one we're talking about on the Indie Selects. I'm going to pause this video right now, guys. But let me go over here. So Deron, who is one of the people who works at ID at Xbox, says, after dying a lot, I found an experience that's hard to put down. Leica Age True Blood is an innovative twist on the Metroidvania genre that is bound to draw you in. Who would have known that combining shooting and motorbike riding in a 2D plane would work so well? On top of that, the immersive storytelling elevates the game to a whole new level. Coyote made me cry. 10 out of 10.
It's all hand drawn, so it's beautiful.
It's already on console, Lucifer. It's already on Xbox. You can literally click to get it now, right there. So Leica Age True Blood is one of the Indie Selects that we were going to talk about. So Dreadpool, are you going to get Leica from the Indie Selects? I'm all in. I am all in on this game. I mean, look at this. This looks awesome.
I really want to play the game. I just don't know if it's in the cards just yet.
According to Terry, there's a demo on Steam.
I know.
Yep, Steam has a free demo. So if you're not quite sure,
I'm waiting for Game Pass.
No, the Indie Selects are not on Game
I know,
Pass.
that's what I said. I'm waiting on Game Pass.
I think they said they were not going to come to Game Pass, isn't it?
As of now, they're not going to come to Game Pass. But
so
I'm waiting for it to come to Game Pass.
You better pony up those $20.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just I paid so many games that I haven't played yet. So
yeah,
I gotta stop buying games and not playing them.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Terry. This is the first Indie Select that you put on where I was like grinning ear to ear the whole time. The song, what I was looking at, the gameplay. I was just like, I'm all in. This game is mine.
This trailer doesn't really show it, but you do have like skills that you level up, so you'll be able to kind of like speed, like teleport forward and do like special things too. They didn't really showcase that on this, but you have that as well.
There you go. Like, I'm all in. All right, so let's look at the other games here. So back to the ID at Xbox. This is from Xbox Wire, so it is official. Little Guardsman. Don't know what this is about. Terry, have you heard of this one?
I have not.
Dread?
No, I have not.
Fastback.
This is 80s inspired with that tape deck. Got that tape, that little Walkmans. It's 80s.
Right, 80s inspired. All right, let's see. So Tim Bray, another ID at Xbox employee, says the delightful, quirky Little Guardsman had me equal parts giggling like a maniac and critically thinking about my choices. Playing as a 12-year-old who's taken over her dad's shift at the guardhouse, you need to use your deduction and puzzle-solving skills to decide the fates of elves, goblins, and other fantasy creatures. And your choices determine the outcome of the whole kingdom. After getting killed by a singing princess and inadvertently inviting capitalism into the city, let's just say I had a lot to consider. What I know for sure is I highly recommend this wonderful, funny, literal gatekeeping game. All right,
wow.
So that is Little Guardsman. Let me click on the Little Guardsman trailer. Share this tab.
Sounds like IGN should play this game.
Oh.
Mark Goblin Twain. I like it.
Yeah, dude. Let's watch this for
The
sound.
talk.
What? What time is it?
There comes a time in every young person's life when they have to work their dad's shift at the guard shed while he goes and bets on the Goblin Ball game.
Yep, it's happening.
You bet it is. You'll meet exciting people.
I'm bringing a basket of baked goods to my family.
You'll get to use the tools of the trade.
You wish to challenge me to ceremonial combat?
And if you get in trouble, just pick up the phone and call one of the official advisors. They're always happy to help.
Wait, you're gonna
This
have
looks like
everyone
Papers,
I know
Please.
thrown in jail?
Well, I wasn't going to, but that's a much better idea.
So, think you'll be okay?
Of course, Dad. But if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do things my way.
Whoops.
There I go and face my destiny. Can you spot me a fiver?
This moron doesn't speak for us. Mind if we just leave?
Oh, Lil, do speak up. I can barely hear you over all that racket. Do not admit anyone else today. We're full up to half an hour.
Is it that you don't have it, or that you don't want to give it to me?
Orlando is a real pardon my goblin.
What am I, goblin?
Wait a minute. You're gonna give me, a 12-year-old, the power to rewind time?
Well, I wasn't going to, but that's a much better idea. Try not to do any irreversible damage.
Lil, wake up.
All right, Little Guardsman. All right, Terry, after seeing the trailer, are you in?
I'm not sure. That seems a little quirky. So maybe, yeah. If it has some good humor in it, I'm all for it.
All right. Dread, are you in?
You know, it's funny. I think I like it. I'll tell you that. I like it. It's funny, especially when it would have been nice to have that 100, but I guess X-rays out of the question now. But yeah, I don't know if I'll buy it. Maybe I'll wait for this one for Game Pass if it ever hits there. Again, it's one of those things where I want to play it. I just don't have the time.
So far, the Indie Selects, I think, is going pretty good. I'm going to pass on this just because this game reminds me of Papers, Please. I don't know if you guys have played that game. It's a puzzle style game, and I'm not. It just wasn't for me. It looks quirky and stuff. I think I'd rather see a playthrough than actually play it. So this one is not for me, unfortunately. So one out of two for me so far. All right, let's see. Fastback says kids always think they can do it better. Absolutely. Yeah. And Lucifer says yes on Steam. Oh, there you go. He's gonna get it.
Dad literally took the day off to go gambling.
That's right. It happens. It's tradition. All right. The next game on the Xbox Wire, Indie Selects, is Little Gator Game, and I love this. This is going to be a great topic every once a month, Terry. Little Gator Game. All right, let's read it. Glenn says, from the moment you first meet Little Gator, this cozy narrative-based exploration adventure game oozes with charm. It feels playful and simple at first as you complete tasks to draw your distracted older sister into the amazing game you're creating. But beneath the surface, there's an incredible amount of heart to uncover. This would be a great game for kids, but you definitely don't have to be a kid to fall in love with it. All right. Let's look at the Little Gator Game trailer. little
Okay.
gator game.
So from
Alright.
this trailer, I don't know anything about this game, but from this trailer, I'm thinking this is a child going to a playground and letting his imagination get the better of him. He's going on these crazy adventures while he's at the local park. So
There
it
you
could be intriguing. Could be.
Okay. So interested or not, Terry?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really play too many like platforming games, it's especially, it's a 3D platformer, which is more my speed, but again, I don't really have time for them.
All right. Well, there you go. Dreadpool.
Hard pass.
Yeah, me too. Hard pass. I'm with Dread. Hard pass. Let's see. Fastback says Gator Crossing and looks like a Switch game from Lucifer. Yeah. Okay. So we already talked about Leica. All right. Up next is El Paso Everywhere, where I was born, El Paso, Texas. All right. Let's see. El Paso Everywhere is described as a third-person love letter to classic shooters. Oh, now you're talking. But it's much more than that. Adding in slow-mo gunplay, the stylistic elements of a classic film noir, classic film noir, and a heavy dose of supernatural. You tell yourself slaying vampires and wolverines in slow-mo is not the key to happiness. I can already tell Dreadpool's going to get this. Then you play El Paso Everywhere, and now your every thought is this beautiful neo-noir international monologue. And the words of James Savage, here's to believing. All right, El Paso Everywhere. Let's check out the El Paso Everywhere trailer.
Elsewhere, for the love of goodness.
Oh, El Paso Elsewhere. Oh, sorry. Oh, this is a music video. Sorry, I can't play that. Let's go with this one. El Paso Elsewhere. Okay.
98% of me is screaming in pain or exultation. Glad for an excuse to fall.
That's slow-mo.
I tell myself it was always going to be a one-way trip. That's what love is. It's a trip between who you were and whatever the hell you become next. I need to know that you believe, so I can too. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's cool. You get to jump off walls. Go into Max Payne slow-mo.
My name is James Savage. Here's to believing.
One-way trip. All right, El Paso Elsewhere. I'm going to play the music video, but I'm just going to mute it because I can't have copyrighted music on here. All right. Sorry about that. Terry.
Not my style of game. I mean, so this one will be a pass for me personally. It's just not my thing.
All right. Not her thing. Dreadpool. Oh, Dreadpool's gone.
I'm trying to see. I do like. I don't know. I'm at a toss up. I mean, I like the idea of this. I'm just not sure I like the graphics enough to. I'm not trying to be a graphics snob, but just I don't know. In theory, I should like this, but it's just not pulling my interest.
There you go. No ray tracing. No buy from Dread.
Yeah.
I looked at this and that graphic style, the art style is just not me. Sorry, just not. And I didn't see enough of it. I might have to see some gameplay of this, like someone stream it or something, or maybe a gameplay on it for me to understand it, because I have no idea what's happening.
From what I could see, it looked like it had too much slow-mo, too much.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of gave me kind of like a From Dusk to Dawn vibe, but just
there you go. All right,
isn't there? You know what I mean?
Yes,
it could have been.
So,
it could have been. Could have been.
Well, the art style might not be for us. Lucifer says this looks cool. And Fastback says El Paso looks cool. And Lucifer says kind of looks like Hong Kong Massacre on Steam. I think he means massacre. If you've played this, not every game is for everybody, but if this is for you, then hey, more power to you. Wizard with a Gun is the next one. You've got 5 minutes before the apocalypse. That's it. Sounds stressful, right? But don't worry, you're a wizard and you have a gun. Cool. The fun premise plays out as a roguelite with deep crafting mechanics that lets you evolve your gun into all kinds of magical ways, making each run to gather upgrade materials increasingly rewarding. And the best part, you can do it all with a friend in co-op. Co-op, Terry. That's your secret word.
Yeah, but they lost me at roguelite.
Roguelite.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look at it.
We'll have to see. All
right, let me turn it up. Here we go. All Devolver Digital. Oh, it's gonna be
definitely lost again.
Listen, and I'll tell you a tale. There they stood, 6 alone.
Hope this is a
hunter, the maker, and the wild swamp's home. A young chief rising and a weaver of bone. Remember, the gate was thrown wide, the horror inside. The riders drew iron, there was nowhere to hide. Before it was done, our heroes, yes, everyone, they fell and died.
Grab a soul, or whatever that is.
It's up to you now, kid.
Okay. Okay, so it's twin stick shooting. You can tell this is with a PC. Actually, on the Shattered Explorer Broken World. I love Twin Stick Shooter. Was using cheat codes, I can tell. You see the size of that map? Different biomes, okay. This actually looks fun, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, it's like a survival roguelike. Okay. Wizard with a Gun from Terry's favorite studio, Devolver.
No,
Terry.
No, I'm actually not a fan of Devolver. I don't really like anything they make. It's just they're just not my style. I feel like Devolver is that studio where everyone's just high all the time. It's like I don't know. There's just something about Devolver that I can't get into Devolver. I can't. I think they maybe made one game that I kind of liked, but it's just I don't know.
Devolver has made so many indies that I like, or publish indies. I really like Devolver. Be sure to tune in. We're going to react live to the Devolver showcase with Terry.
Nope.
For your entertainment.
No, we should do the Nacon Connect. That happened this week.
Yeah, it did. It did. Dreadpool, Wizard with a Gun. Interesting, Dreadpool. Interesting. I cannot hear you.
All right. So
There we go.
I got to tell you this.
Yes.
The intro I would love to see as a flashback to like the 90s, 80s, 90s cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a cool flashback. But the gameplay itself reminds me of what's that game on Xbox? There was 3 of them so far that came out. Tower something.
Towerborn? I don't know.
Was it Towerborn or something like that?
Tower Defender? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
I'm trying to remember. Towerborn. Yeah, that's it.
Towerborn. Okay, so Towerborn is coming out, isn't it? Towerborn is the new one that's coming out.
Which one is it then?
I have no idea which one you're talking about. This reminds me of a mix between Into the Gungeon.
Oh no, yeah, this is coming out.
And the Escape the Gungeon, obviously. And then what is that game? I forget what the name of the game is. It's on my Steam library, but because I like both those games, even though I couldn't finish Enter the Gungeon, it's a roguelike. But I like the survival aspect of this, the crafting aspect. I might check this game out. This game is interesting to me. Yeah.
Definitely interesting. Like I said, I can't remember what it's called, but it's Tower something. I want to say Tower Stone, but I can't find it.
Yeah. I have no idea, sir. This reminds me of a mix of Enter the Gungeon and Don't Starve. If anybody's ever played Don't Starve. So I like both those games. Even though I'm not great at them, I had a lot of fun, probably 60 hours into both. So this one really is calling my name out. So yeah, this one is more my style, but I don't know which one you're talking about, Dread.
I can't find it. I want to say it's Tower something, but maybe it's not.
Is it an indie game?
It's a smaller game. I played it with a few people in the community. It was in Game Pass too. Trying to load up the Xbox right now. I tried looking.
Well, while you do that, let's move on to our last game here. Let's see. Actually, hold on. I was going to do something. Tower something?
Something like that.
Oops, sorry if you guys can hear that. Tower Time, Triangle Tower Launch, Midden Tower, Tower Princess, Towerful Defense, a Rogue Tower Defense, Mad Tower Tycoon, Cyber Tower, Tricky Tower, Mechs versus Kaijus. Well, that's cool. I just went to the idea Xbox and typed in Tower.
Yeah.
None of those?
That's what I did too. I just can't find it.
All right. Well, then let's move on. If it comes back, just let us know. Okay, so the last of the indie selects is the Talos Principle 2. Glenn says, the first Talos Principle really sucked me in with its deep, evolving puzzle system some 10 years ago, so I was delighted when I learned the sequel was forthcoming, and I was not disappointed. The Talos Principle 2 takes the puzzle on top of a puzzle on top of a puzzle mechanism of the first game to an entirely new level. The challenge of creating any great puzzle game is making the player feel smart and accomplished when they solve things without making them feel frustrated for very long. The Talos Principle 2 is masterful at finding that balance. But before we look at the trailer, guys, I want to look at the chat here. I see that Lady Foxfire has joined us. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the real MVP. We appreciate you being here. Let's see. Devolver is great. I agree, Fastback. Devolver is great. And Lady Foxfire says, hope you all are doing well. We're doing great, Lady Foxfire. We are doing great. Don't Starve games. Yeah, Lucifer, exactly. The Don't Starve games. They remind me of that one. Let's see. And shout out to Ice Queen Gaming. She says, hey, I'm at the pub watching football. Hey, let us know if your team wins. And she means soccer football, not American football, guys. So, yeah. All right, so let's watch the Talos Principle 2. Let me see. The release date trailer. Here we go. All right, that looked wow. Terry, the Talos Principle 2.
Yeah, so I played the first one and I did enjoy it. I do like puzzle games. So this is definitely one that I would play. It's just finding the time because it's single player and I pretty much only do co-op these days. I don't have time for single player games anymore. But yeah, this is definitely one that I would definitely enjoy.
Okay. Dreadpool, Talos Principle 2, one of the great accomplished puzzlers of our generation. Last generation.
I'll play it. I don't think I'll go out of my way to buying it, to be honest. But I think I'll play it.
All right. Add it to your wish list. You might get it for your birthday next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Absolutely. All right. So that is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. The first 6 indie selects from Xbox. Overall, how many are you interested in, Terry? And what do you think of these first 6? So again, those 6 are Little Guardsman, Little Gator Game, Leica, El Paso Elsewhere, Wizard with a Gun, and the Talos Principle 2. Which one's interested? How many?
I would say 3 of them.
All right, which ones?
The Little Guardsman.
Okay.
Little Guardsman, Leica, and Talos.
And Talos. All right. So Terry's at 3 out of 10. So 50, not bad for the first month, right? That's good. I mean, if you found at least one, that's great. Dread, what about you? How many of these interested you? And chat, let us know which ones interested you. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say.
I'm gonna say the 2 that I talked about earlier, which was Leica and the Little Guardsman.
All right, Leica and Little Guardsman. Okay. So for me, Leica stole the show. I'm actually probably gonna buy this as soon as I log off here. That looked awesome. Amazing. Wizard with a Gun, another one for me. I'm not great into roguelikes. I don't do well, but for some reason I keep buying them because I'm stubborn and don't learn my lesson, and they look awesome. And I'm questioning the Talos Principle. I don't want to get sucked into. I feel FOMO on it, but I don't do great at puzzlers. Puzzle games very rarely capture me, but like I loved Portal, and Portal was a straight up puzzle game. So I do enjoy some puzzle games, just not all of them. So I'm looking at the Talos Principle 2 as my maybe. So definitely 2, possibly 3 for me. So yeah, those are the ones, and it looks like Leica, Terry's indie choice of the day, stole the show. At least for me, that game. Wow, I'm telling you, I was grinning ear to ear when I was watching it the whole time. Let's see. Brando Calriza says El Paso for me. Yeah, El Paso looks great for if you're into that noir style and into slow-mo. I'll add it to my wish list. I might, if somebody gives me Little Guardsman, I might play it, but I don't know. I might play it for like 10 minutes and quit. I just know myself. So yeah. All right, so that's going to conclude the indie ID at Xbox topic. Hopefully everybody enjoyed all those trailers. I like that they're doing that. Shout out to Xbox. All right, so we are going to move over to our last topic of the day here. So, Dread, Terry,
Nope.
I don't know if you know, but Xbox spent like $69 billion to buy Activision Blizzard and all its subsidiaries. Why am I huge? There we go. And all its subsidiaries. Oh, sorry. Before we move on, I apologize. Terry, you got to remind me of these things. We had a poll. How many indie selects was the chat interested in?
All right, 71%. Huge. We're interested in 3 out of 6, and then 14% split between 1 out of 6 and 2 out of 6, and nobody liked 4 or more. So yeah, so 3 out of 6. That's not bad.
I think that's a hit. I think that's a hit.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah. Okay, so toys. So they spent $69 billion to buy Activision Blizzard and all its subsidiaries, and one of the big subsidiaries that they wanted to buy was this smaller studio called Toys for Bob, if you recall, Dread. And oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Recall the game now.
Toys for Bob. And the reason people were excited for Toys for Bob was because finally Xbox was going to have a first-party studio to focus on family games. A weakness that has been admitted by Phil Spencer that they are weak on this front. They're weak on platformers and family games. So, Toys for Bob, they did the Spyro remakes, which were great, and the new Spyro. They did Crash, the Crash remakes, and Crash, the new Crash game, I think it was called Crash 4, right? And they came out to great critical acclaim. But just this week, Toys for Bob says, we're going indie. So $69 billion to acquire a family studio for them to be able to go indie. Now, not to say they should be held hostage at Xbox. They certainly shouldn't. But if I bought something and you went indie, I'm gonna be upset. Oh yeah, okay. So Dreadpool finally thought of his games. They're called Torchlight. Those are great games.
Torchlights are fantastic.
Yes, Torchlights are great games. Yeah.
I got stuck on the T word, so T-O.
Torchlight is fantastic. So Terry, can you read this out as I need to take a drink of water? Let me make it bigger. Yeah.
We're thrilled to announce that Toys for Bob is spinning off as an independent game development studio. Over the years, we've inspired love, joy, and laughter for the inner child in all gamers. We pioneered new IP and hardware technologies in Skylanders.
Yep.
We raised the bar for best-in-class remasters in Spyro Reignite Trilogy. We've taken Crash Bandicoot to innovative, critically acclaimed new heights. With the same enthusiasm and passion, we believe that now is the time to take the studio and our future games to the next level. This opportunity allows us to return to our roots of being a small and nimble studio. To make this news even more exciting, we're exploring a possible partnership between our new studio and Microsoft. And while we're in the early days of developing our new game and a ways away from making any announcements, our team is excited to develop new stories, new characters, and new gameplay experiences. Our friends at Activision and Microsoft have been extremely supportive of our new direction, and we're confident that we will continue to work closely together as part of our future. So keep your horns on and your eyes out for more news. Thank you to our community of players for always supporting us through our journey. We can't wait to share updates on our new adventure as an indie studio. Talk to you soon.
Okay, so reaction, Terry, react.
I think that's interesting. I feel like most people would be like, "Yo, you going from being owned? They were owned by Crystal Dynamics and then Activision, Microsoft for like a brief moment, and they're saying their next big chapter is to go independent, which is a huge risk. Questionable. I wish them the best. Hopefully they do very, very well, but that's crazy high risk. They did say that they still want to work very closely with Activision and Microsoft, which is great. So maybe they kind of don't want to be told what to do. They kind of want to do their own thing, but still make games for them. So I guess they, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I feel like they're going to do the same thing they always did. They just don't want to have like Microsoft or someone telling them you need to make this game. You have to make it this way.
They're busy making the next game and they're like, no, stop working on that. Call of Duty support studio right now. We need help at Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we helped Call of Duty. Now we got to get back to our game. No. The next Call of Duty came out.
Yeah. So that sounds like that might be what happened.
Having to be redirected by the corporate overlords.
Yeah. So they're like, yo, we want to keep making the games that we make, but we want to do it our way. So yeah, I get that. And if they're still going to work really close with Microsoft, then that tells me we'll still get more of the games that we kind of know them for. And they might even create some new IPs of their own to kind of set themselves apart from Microsoft, for what they own. So this could be good, but again, high risk going independent after being an umbrella company for so long, I wish them the best.
So I'm just showing you some of the games they worked on here, right? Call of Duty, Spyro, Crash, Skylanders. They worked on Tony Hawk, Madagascar, Extreme Skate Adventure, 102 Dalmatians, Majoko Daisuken, Little Witching Mischiefs. Never heard of that.
Nope.
The Unholy War on the PS1, Pandemonium on PS1. I played that. The Horde on PC. It's an RTS. And Star Control on the Super Nintendo PC, I believe. So Toys for Bob has been around for a while, but out of all of these, I think this one, these three, and maybe this one, are their only original IPs. Everything else has been licensed IP. They might have come up with the idea of Skylanders, but it was, Skylanders with Spyro and Spyro's Adventure. They used an IP to launch their IP, which is fine. You can definitely do that. So maybe they have a new idea. And by the way, I love Skylanders. I have a lot of these collectibles. I think they're great. They're great figurines. So yeah, there you go. There's the Toys for Bob games. But of course, recently, they're most known for Spyro and Crash. Dreadpool, react to this. Oh my God.
So no. Here's the funny part, right? These games and the previous games kind of lead credence to where we thought Toys R Bob was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And even with this announcement, it still looks like they're going to do possibly something like that. So it looks like they could. Did they say that they were going to do an original game?
They said new IPs.
New IPs, right?
But they didn't say their own IPs, right? Like, let me see.
Right.
Is that what they said? Sorry, let me click back on the blog.
So my thought went directly to Banjo-Kazooie still being a possibility. Now's the time to...
We pioneered new European hardware technologies in Skylander, blah, 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 with the same enthusiasm. Future games to the next level. It doesn't say anything about it. They're working on an original IP.
So there you go.
They're just saying that future games.
Banjo.
All right, I'll take a Banjo from Toys for Bob.
Right? It just makes sense because our friends at Activision and Microsoft extremely supportive with the new direction, and they're gonna we're exploring a possible partnership.
Let me make it bigger so you can read
studio.
it. We are exploring. Where was that? Here it is.
Yeah, right there. You moved it around. I mean,
sorry.
Between new studio and Microsoft. So again, to me, they were perfect setup to be pulled away from a support studio and go back to working as their own. As to why they separated, that's a totally different thing. But it looks like they still could be doing some Banjo.
Yeah, all hope is not lost.
Yeah, so
for us Banjo fans.
And look at the bright side. These devs could have been some of them, and some of them could have offered their own jobs to stay on with Toys for Bob and be separated, so that way they could save somebody else that's in the Microsoft position or in the Xbox somewhere else over there, where these would be their jobs would be eliminated because they had pulled away. And now you can, I mean, we've had people even in my industry where the guy's like, look, man, I'm getting ready to retire in another year. Just give me my walking papers. And those walking papers would satisfy his paycheck until his retirement. So they could be doing the similar situation where, like, look, give us our walking papers. That way you don't have to let somebody else go. We'll take the cut. And at the same time, we're building the next game. We're working on the new studio. So
yeah, that could have definitely happened.
That could be a 1-for-1. So look at the bright side. So they could have lost their job with Xbox to shift over here, while somebody else that would have lost their job got to stay. And making Banjo and Kazooie. So it sounds like a win-win. It doesn't sound like the sky's falling or the industry's crashing just yet. It doesn't sound like it's part of that. It sounds like they have a solution to keep people working and to keep themselves autonomous, and at the same time with a partnership. So it sounds like a good thing.
So I'm just gonna do clown math here, as it's my favorite kind of math, right? So when Xbox bought Activision Studios, there was 24 studios, right? So $69 billion, right? Divided by 24 studios, Xbox basically paid 2.8 billion per studio, roughly. And of course, some studios were worth more than others, blah, 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 right? We're just going through each one equal, right? So the Toys for Bob share of that is $2.8 billion. Let's just pretend, maybe a little less. Let's pretend 1 billion, right? So somehow Toys for Bob has to come up with $1 billion to buy themselves out, right? Of this $69 billion acquisition. And maybe part of that buyout is like, hey, you know what? We'll make you 3 games over the next 10 years. It could be labor, right? It could, not everything has cash value unless you attach cash value to it. And, hey, you know what? We'll give you 3 games over the next 10 years. And if one of those games is a 90 plus Metacritic, it counts as 2. Whatever, right? You can structure a deal any which way you want in corporate America, right? So for Toys for Bob to come up with a way to separate from the Activision Blizzard King deal, and go independent for whatever reason, maybe they just don't like, they said they like being small and nimble. And, big corporate is not small and nimble. Trust me, I work at a small and nimble company, and it is very different than corporate. Very different. So maybe one of those is like, you know what? We'll make you a Banjo game. We'll make you another Crash and Spyro game. 3 games, and you get to keep all the source code, all that stuff. And maybe 3 new IPs launch on your console, or we promise to not go exclusive to the competition, or something like that, right? Many different ways that can be monetary. Now, in my opinion, offering Xbox the ability to make games is not really that much of a money thing, because, well, someone's going to make the games, but offering free labor, like, hey, you know what? We'll pay you this much, and we'll make you games that now you don't have to fund anymore. Hey, you know what? That's awesome. Now this could be, a caveat. We'll make them, but we're not going to market them, because marketing is expensive, as we all know, right? So yeah, I think that maybe part of the deal, I'm hoping part of the deal is that they make something like, some more Crash games, some more Spyro games, as those are beloved franchises. They look at some of the older IPs that Xbox has that have been ignored. Things like Banjo-Kazooie comes to mind. What other child IPs have been ignored? I feel like Fusion Frenzy or something like that could be brought back up by them. Things of that nature. So I'm still hopeful that Toys for Bob will come in. Yeah, maybe they did not want to be stuck being a support studio for COD, as Lou Cypher points out here. Brendo Calriza says somehow they came up with the money for a buyout. Good for them. Yeah. I don't think they came up with $1 billion, but I definitely think they structured a deal that equals $1 billion. Right? Yeah. And maybe it's not a full buyout. Maybe Microsoft still owns 40% and they owed 60%. You never know how these deals come about, right? So Brendo says, I hope Toys for Bob ends up being a Night Dive Studios for Xbox. They do a ton of remakes and remasters. Yeah, that could be their thing. So Microsoft found it in their hearts to let Toys for Bob go independent. For whatever reason, to do that. Maybe one day somebody with real journalistic integrity will ask Phil Spencer what the Toys for Bob deal was, and we'll get a little bit more clarity, and we'll be able to react to it a little bit more appropriately. But right now, I think this shocked me, because you don't spend $69 billion to just let some of those studios go. That's not that's like me buying a brand new car just to give someone my brand new tire. No way. Not happening. I'm keeping 100% of my car, and not to say that Toys for Bob is a tire. I'm just giving you an example. Okay. I paid for a full car. I get the full car. So, Xbox decided, you know what? We don't need that part of it or we could do better if you guys weren't here and we just structure deals for the next 10 years or whatever. They could have first right refusals to things like if Toys for Bob comes up with a new IP, they have to present it to Microsoft first. I mean, there could be all sorts of deals that went through this. And, I'm just thinking positive light for Microsoft, positive light for Toys for Bob. There's nothing wrong with, hey, you know what? We're going to present you with this new IP first. If you don't like it, okay, you got 1 month to decide. If you don't decide, we're showing it to other people, to the competition, to whoever, right? We're showing it to Devolver, whatever. So yeah, what do you think about that, Terry? Do you think they structured a deal? Because there's no way they came up with.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. Like I've seen a lot of people going on about how they paid for a buyout. I'm like, no, they didn't.
No way.
No, they didn't. I'm right there with you. I think that they, formed a contract agreement where they're gonna, their partnership that they mentioned, the contract agreement to where they're gonna still make certain games for Microsoft, and then allow them to go independent so they can make these new IPs they have planned for themselves. They can do that. And I agree to what Dreadpool also said. With this would be a great way for them to kind of make it to where they wouldn't be on the chopping block, and this way both sides could win. So I think these are all great points, and I think that that's probably the more reasonable solution than people just saying, "Oh yeah, they paid for it." Like, no, they didn't. They did.
There's no physical way they paid that much money.
They're a good studio, but they're not that good of a studio where they got that kind of capital just laying around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no way they had that kind of. There's no way the studio who was under Activision Blizzard had cash coffers just laying around, separated from the Activision Blizzard deal.
And we all know Embracer Group had nothing to do with anything because their situation.
Right. So, yeah, and shout out to Clobriel, guys. This is Clobriel's image. Again, credit where credit is due. His original tweet. Let me pull it up. It's not pulling up. His original tweet. Here we go. Right here. So just so you guys know, yeah, this is Clobriel's original tweet. So again, shout out to Clobriel for photoshopping this image, and that's where I got it from. So let's see. Lost Boomer, shout out to Lost Boomer. Thank you so much for joining us. You're the real MVP. Overall, I don't see this as a negative thing. Microsoft could have also been like, we got too many studios. We gotta chop some up, and like, don't chop me up. How about we work a little side deal over here? I don't know the circumstances of it. Of course, maybe somebody does, but I surely don't. I'm just speculating. Maybe they didn't like the corporate structure. Maybe they were on the chopping block. Maybe this was part of the Activision Blizzard contract that, when they got bought, each studio would have an opportunity to go independent. We don't know, is what I'm saying. But Toys for Bob leaving Xbox Game Studios, leaving Activision Blizzard behind, going independent. Hopefully we'll hear from them sometime soon, and hopefully it'll be an Xbox game. And hopefully, as I said, someone with some journalistic integrity will dig into this and find out a little more, and we'll report on it when they do. With all that being said, guys, I think that's going to do it for today's show. Any closing thoughts on this, guys?
No.
All right. I think we had a fantastic show, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the topics. I had a lot of fun on today's show, guys. And of course, you guys, the chat made today's show everything it is today. And that's why you guys, the chat will always be the MVP to all the shows here on the Iconic Video Games channel. With that being said, we are going to get out of here. I'm Axel1324.
I'm coolcatterri.
And I'm Dreadpool.
And we will catch you guys next week. Bye, everybody.